Welcome back to the Aviation RC Noob Podcast. You found us. My name is Joe.
And I'm Matt.
We're here to be with you along your journey and to share our experiences in RC aviation. If you have any questions, thoughts, or want to share a flight story, hit us up at aviationrcnoob@gmail.com. Now, buckle in. Let's take off.
All right, this is Matt Allen. We're at Flite Fest 2020. It's technically, Thursday morning? Officially? I think we passed midnight?
Yeah, about 10 minutes.
By about 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah, so we got in earlier tonight, just as the sun was coming down, and we set up our village, I think we'd call it.
Near enough. It looks good for a village.
Yeah. We're set up near the, I don't know, what direction is that? East?
Yeah, I don't know.
East build tent, the campsite build tent.
I can see stars. That's the North Star right there.
Okay, then the northern, wait.
Look, that's...
Yeah, so that's north and that's east. Yeah, the eastmost. It's on the camper side.
Yeah.
Camping side, tent camping side.
So Matt, we should probably take a second to explain what we're hoping to do here.
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah.
Which is to say, first off, Jesse, thanks for joining us for Flite Fest.
Well, thanks for having me. This is wonderful.
Yeah.
Matt,
for people who don't know you, Jesse, you've made a number of comments we've read, but tell us a little bit, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
About me? Well, I've been...
No, brief. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, when I was 2.
No, go ahead.
Like I said, I started doing foam planes through the flight test forums, met you, started doing the Discord, and I've been doing a lot of different plane stuff. But I am way out in Portland, Oregon, near enough.
Yeah.
And I have never been to something like this, and it sounded like a fun thing to do.
Yeah. And you have a very encouraging wife, which is amazing.
Yes, she nearly kicked me out of the house. You got to go do this. you made a friend. Go play.
Yeah, it's awesome. So you said, hey, I might be getting a ticket, and we're thinking oh, you'll take a ticket to Ohio, and you're like, how do you feel about me coming down and visiting you guys for a little bit, and then we all hop in the car and drive to Ohio? I'm like, so you want to fly out and then drive with us forever
for almost 10 hours?
Oh my God, for 9 hours.
I think you put that bug in my head.
Yeah,
you're like, you should come and hang out. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, then let's do it.
Well, however it happened.
Yeah.
Yes, it was going to be a bit more hanging out. Flights were not as planned, and it was fly in, get in the car, and drive up.
Well, for how it all went, I can say you basically fell into a pile of doo-doo and came out smelling like roses.
It turned out all right.
Yeah, so...
thankfully, it turned out just fine. So we're here at Flite Fest after 9 hours of really uneventful driving, I think, overall.
Yeah, I slept for the first 4.
Yeah, so Joe had a great time.
And then I drove for the last 4.
Jesse brought this really cool... Can you tell our listeners about that plane game or whatever that we were playing?
I don't know.
That is one of the most unique things I've seen. It was a lot of fun.
I don't know when it was made. It's definitely older. It's called Ace of Aces, and it's 2 booklets of pictures of 2 World War I aircraft in a dogfight. And it works almost like a choose-your-own-adventure. You have a scene, and I can see the enemy aircraft, and you can see it from your perspective in your book, and we pick a maneuver out of a list on the bottom and say, go to this page. We both go to that page, and it makes us go to another page where we end up in the same position, and see if we guessed correctly where the other person was going, and end up trying to shoot each other down.
And then we figure out, when we get to that second page, from the start page, it basically is the result of what our actions were together. And all of a sudden, you're like, I got you, or, oh, you just missed, oh, we're going opposite each other.
I went left, you went right, now we got to re-engage, and the mechanics of the booklet just coming up, it just amazed me how cleanly that system works.
I know, it's a mystery, too. I'm thinking about it, that is a mathematician's dream. It's great.
And it may have something simple under it that I just don't see, but it's almost magic playing it.
I know, it's so
and
cool.
It was something, it's part of a full game, lots of nuance, but just the flip books,
Yeah, but with Just a Flip Books, it's a great card game.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I'm in the front seat calling out numbers, you're in the front seat calling, and Joe's kind of like, what are you guys doing? I'd occasionally just show him like, well, this is what I'm seeing. I'm going to go this way.
And I love that we both end up on the same page, but it's from our own perspective. You'll see my plane from your spot and vice versa.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And I think the first game we played, I pretty much had you.
Oh,
the second
you had
game,
me
I
good.
couldn't get you off my tail.
Nope.
For anything.
Nope. And then the other one, I think we just disengaged.
I think, we both did a U-turn opposite directions and flew away.
Right, I had a couple good shots on you, and then we just went the other way.
I limped home. I don't think I scratched you on that run.
No, not on that one. But that was fun. That was a good way to kind of pass some time. That was pretty cool. I'm glad you brought it. So we have a tent city. I brought my ridiculous tent.
You guys have ridiculous tents. I mean, the small tent isn't even a small tent.
That is a small tent.
Well, when you look at your 5-bedroom with the dining table and I mean, your bed's got a headboard.
Well,
it does have a headboard. Legitimately has a headboard.
Again, my wife's bed.
Oh.
But see, last year when I brought it, and was going to sleep on it, he had to go in that tent.
Okay.
And it would fit, but it was touching both sides of the tent.
It was pushing those sides out.
I just remember when you were setting up this one tonight, every other unfolded, like, I didn't realize it was this big.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it's getting bigger.
It's getting bigger.
I went bigger and bigger. I'm like, oh my gosh, Joe, you told me you had a bigger tent, but like, your tent is about the same size as mine. Mine is a 3 10 by 10 room or 3 8 by 8 room tent.
Yeah.
It is a very large, but it's built for a family. Like, I bought it for my kids to have a room and myself to have a room, and then we have a place to put a table when it's wet to like play cards or something, you know.
Yeah. And this is a family tent, but it is perfect size for my wife and I when we go camping. Because we don't have a blow-up queen, so she gets her blow-up twin. Her nice blow-up twin. I've got a little tiny blow-up twin that I sleep on.
There's even a foyer for
it's got like a hangout screen-in area, front porch.
I was thinking there's even a spot for your butler.
So we're not exactly roughing it.
No,
that's what you're saying.
Not entirely, but I mean, we don't have any power, just like any campsite.
Well, I got my inverter in the van if we need it.
Yeah, it's true. We brought a couple folding tables we might be building at the campsite, but we're also situated, like, we can see the biggest build tent Flite Fest has ever had. It is incredible. Normally they have like two rows of like 4 tables put together.
Yeah.
Like they'll have two rows of that kind of running, table after table after table. And this is 3 full rows with room to spare, really. And it goes all the way to the back. So
yeah, it's huge.
It's incredible. They stepped it up this year. And we also, because we're here a little bit before everything begins, we got a good chance to see the B-17 that they're working on and that Freedom Fox plane, or that giant one that they made out of, I can't even think of the flexible PPM.
Yeah, I don't know, because I've not been keeping up with the Flight Test channel.
Well, we won't talk too much about that then. But anyway, they're there on display to check out. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
I only glanced at them, but they're impressive looking.
Yeah, we'll see them a little bit more tomorrow. I know we'll be, as we hang out here, I know that's the great part about here. Like, you'll be able to see every one of the people that you've seen on any of the videos, and they're all approachable.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're really busy. They're going from place to place. If you see Josh Bixler, you can talk to him, and he will stop and talk to you. Even though he has a million things to do, he loves this event, and you could tell. I think everybody else is doing it, but they're like, yeah, but I have a job to do. I'm working right now.
Well, before we get too far into this, what we should have started with was what we're trying to do with this episode, which is kind of document this year's Flite Fest as us. Like, as we're here, as we're going through and experiencing things. We're hoping to pull out, record a few segments, short segments here and there.
Oh, shoot. Too late.
Yeah, we're already overshooting, but that's fine.
No, that's fine.
So we had received some recommendations or comments about that. About, hey, that would be really cool if you guys record throughout Flite Fest and make an episode about that. And then,
Sorry.
no, you're
That's okay.
I'm just picturing Matt chasing people down the flight line. Hey, can I have a word with you?
The Aviation RC News have a question.
Well, hopefully not quite like that. But I know there's some people you want to talk to.
Yeah, there's a couple people I want to talk to. Plus, I thought it would be a good idea a way to talk to a couple of vendors here, and maybe for us to be able to connect to them and talk to them maybe in more detail about maybe how do you design a plane, like how do you bring it from beginning to end, and like what is it like to own a hobby shop? Like what is that event? What is that like? That kind of thing. So
as this episode goes, do note that there's going to be differences in audio quality and tones. And I know Matt rolls his eyes because I always harp on this kind of thing. But the three of us are currently huddled around Matt's cell phone.
Yep.
We are not in a studio. We are in the nature with crowds of people.
Well, it's dark.
Not at the moment. But.
Yeah, it's fairly quiet right now. But I did buy 2 lapel mics. I was trying to get another set in so we could use them with Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
So
we also have a regular stand mic too. So
yeah, I brought my microphone up, my boom mic. So there's a variety of recording mechanisms that'll be going on. So as you hear the shifting in quality and sound, just understand that we're in the field, and hopefully it doesn't sound too terrible. But we'll see how it all goes, and in editing, I'll do the best I can.
Yeah.
But this might be a fairly short episode. This might be a really long one. We don't know what we're in for yet.
Either way, we hope you enjoy what you want to enjoy out of it. I think we'll try to put chapter markers so that way, if there's something you wanted to hear, like we're definitely going to do some stuff about the combats. If we can get a little bit of audio with the Spitfire fly-in and the Dawn Patrol, those are some things I definitely want to know. I'd like to talk to a couple people in the STEM tent. Just all around, just see why people are here and what they're looking to take from it.
Yeah, we'll all get new experiences. I mean, I'll be volunteering a couple times in different places, trying new things.
Yeah.
Well, I will end up probably sending you with the lapel mics for most of the time.
Okay.
Since you're going to be the one probably like, oh, that person would probably be good to talk to.
Yeah.
Without harping on them too hard.
Oh, man. All right. Well, then why don't we close it down for now, and then we'll catch back up with everybody in a minute with maybe day 2 or day 1 officially.
Whenever we hook back up, but we'll catch you guys in a little bit.
Oh, Jesse, before we go, what are your initial thoughts about what you hope to see this event?
I am in vacation, go with the flow mode, but I am really looking forward to first time doing any kind of combat. Where I normally fly, I'm the only one in the sky. It's going to be fun having more than just me.
Yeah. And it'll be more than just you and a friend. It'll be more you and 100.
So you'll have to watch my face when I throw the plane and 3 seconds later somebody just takes me out.
Or you just lose it.
Or I lose it in the crowd. Yeah. Which one's mine again?
Yep. Yeah. Well, and that's why we have spotters, Matt.
Yes.
I thank God Joe was there last year.
Nope. There was a couple times he's like, I don't know where I'm at. Now you're right here.
We did paint ours orange.
Yeah.
So that may help.
Yeah.
It may.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
There's likely to be several orange Spitfires in the combats.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be, I think there's at least 5 or 6.
Discord members?
Yeah, well.
Or Spitfires being
Spitfires when you count yours, my 2. And I know there's
I've got 2, you've got 2. I know Jason.
Well, I mean in the podcast colors.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so there's at least there's R3, and there's at least 2 or 3 others that I know of guys that are rogering up in the Discord that we know are coming.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So let's see how many actually turn up.
Yeah,
there's a lot I'm looking forward to. I was thinking more about it, and just honestly, the second thing, or even most, is the volunteering in the build tent, seeing what other people are building.
Oh, yeah.
Helping out. I mean, I teach. I love seeing and helping out and just seeing other people's approaches to things. So it's just going to be fun to... I mean, I know they always have some crazy builds here. I'm looking forward to seeing those.
Yeah, you'll see those too. It'll be fun. There's on the far tent, they're already starting. I'm pretty sure, so... Well, good.
All right, well, now we'll see you in a few minutes.
Yep.
I like this.
Oh man, if you're sitting it there, I gotta swing around.
No, we're good. Just put it right there. It'll be fine.
There you go.
Good.
Oh, Lordy.
Oh, well, we just scared off our first guest.
Yeah.
We only just met him, I mean.
Yeah, I know. It'll be alright. Come on, Ethan. Bring it up.
Pulled the phone out, and he's like, I'm out.
I was the
Give
same
me
way,
that
but I got nowhere to
space.
go.
Where you ride?
No.
You want to pull your chair up?
Yeah.
Now you have a hard time catching Jesse.
No, everybody will be heard just fine. Jesse. Say goodnight, Gracie. No, he's
No, it's good. I'm sure it will pick me up fine.
Yeah, it's picked
I'll
up.
project until he tells me to shut up again.
I'm too tired for that. All right, so it is now what, Thursday?
Thursday,
Day
fate.
2 of us being here.
Just barely Thursday.
Right.
I would still classify this as day 1 because we got here kind of late.
No, let's not. Look, it was nighttime. We slept. We woke up. Like the whole thing.
Yeah, so it's day
I made
1.
everybody breakfast.
I'm with Joe.
And Ethan came, so
This is the first full day.
it's a first full
Yeah.
day. Okay, sure.
And Flite Fest didn't actually start until
Officially,
9 a.m. this morning.
7:30.
Okay.
Yesterday was prelude. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, so we're here again,
Yes, still.
still here, and I think we did a lot of volunteering today
We did.
collectively.
It was a blast.
It
I had
was
fun.
Yeah. So what'd you do, Jesse?
I roamed around the build tents, helping people out, mostly safety.
Okay.
No props with motors spinning, unplug your batteries if you're not going to be there. But really, for me, it was talking to everybody.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you working on? How you needed this? Oh, this guy's got that. Putting people together.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time. I really enjoyed seeing what people were working on, different approaches to similar problems.
Yeah.
And just people. I was hesitant at first to just go up and say, hey, how are you doing? What are you working on? But I found that the other people were also kind of isolated, and they really liked that kind of opening up and getting together as well.
Yeah.
Definitely. So Ethan, you came in today. Where'd you come in from?
I drove in from Daytona Beach, Florida.
That's a long drive. my
It
friend.
was really long. I didn't even leave my house
It's like
until
a whole year of driving.
I didn't even leave my house until like 12:30 the day before because it took me like 6 hours to like finish the projects and then get everything loaded.
Okay, yeah, so talk quickly about like 2 of the projects you brought out today, because you brought a couple out today.
I brought a 13th Squadron Betty bomber, which I blew up to 200%, which had a bunch of design modifications I had to do. I had to like reinforce parts of the aircraft because the 200% scale, all the foam board was thin, it was half the width.
Oh
because
yeah.
I blew it up 200%.
Right,
So I had to put wing ribs in. I had to put extra formers in the fuselage to make sure the aircraft wasn't going to flop around in the air.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
it's almost done. All I have to do is glue it all together. Just glue the center section to the wings and the tail. The servos and the motors are ready to go. Just going
Cool.
to throw some 15-inch props on there and set it on the landing, the spare landing gear. I have this little fall-away trolley that I'm going to do a ramp run with. So
Is that the one I'm going to be borrowing for
that's
the
the one you're going to be
SR-72?
borrowing,
Okay,
for the SR-72.
Yeah, because I keep thinking I'm going to be able to make the landing gear, and if I try that, it'll be Monday by the time I'm done. So to get it off the ground, I think I'm going to make. If I don't make a simple trolley, I'm going to be borrowing the trolley. I think we'll try to borrow, and if the motor doesn't have enough thrust to move it because it's a heavy trolley, then we might have to make something a little bit lighter, but it'll be easy. Yeah, I was in the STEM tents helping, youngsters and families put together and get excited about, flying airplanes in STEM and just kind of engaging with each other. It was awesome. Yeah. But with that, Joe, what did you end
Sorry,
up?
I was trying to tell you to project.
Oh, fine. I'm too tired to project. Too tired. It's been a long day. So
Yeah. You've been on your feet
we
a lot.
we are all just kind of sitting in our chairs, bundled up, ready to fall out of the chairs.
I think it's like,
It's been a long day.
70 degrees out or 65?
Right now,
It cooled off pretty
yeah,
good.
it's probably in the low 60s now. It's
Right. And it was like 85 today.
it was toasty. In the direct sun, it was toasty. In
Yeah.
the shade, it was nice and cool with the breeze that was going.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to relate to it yet. I'm not from around here.
No, it's a little different kind of air.
Yeah, and this isn't even like southern weather. South Carolina, North Carolina, because it's hot and muggy in the south right now. But
Sure. No, honestly, today was good. The weather was nice with the breeze.
Really
I would not
perfect.
like it to be still in
Pretty,
that.
pretty perfect. And then we had like the combats went on today. 3 combats. There'll be like 3 combats every day.
yeah,
And they were good.
It's first I've seen them.
Yeah,
and
your first impression because first you've ever seen.
the first one I saw was this morning, which really wasn't a full one. It was whoever was here.
Right.
There's still 50 or 60 planes in the air.
Right.
But throughout the day, they got more and more, and the last one had to have been at least 100 planes, maybe more.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. I mean, it really is. Just
Yeah.
planes zigging in and out, going every which way. It's hard to follow just one if you're not the pilot, because I wasn't flying into the combats today.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of watch this, you hear it crash over there, it's like, oh, I missed that one, but then you see this one over here to the corner of your eye, and they pick out targets, and it's like, get that guy. It was fun. I really want to do one of those tomorrow. for
Okay.
sure.
Then just let us know, and
Yeah.
one of us will
We'll
be
be
your
there.
spotter.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
You know.
well, for those, I'll grab somebody. There's a
No, but
bunch
I'm
of people
saying-
watching.
We want to be
Oh,
there
you want
with you.
to?
I should probably mate in the plane first instead of doing that in the.
Yeah, we'll do
Well, yeah,
But
but
yeah, we'll do that for sure.
Nice. And so you're finishing up a scout, I think. Right?
The scout's ready to go. It's probably a little underpowered, but we'll go from there.
Okay. Nice.
Um,
Joe, what did you
yeah.
end up doing today?
I got the super labor-intensive, wore me out.
Oh, get off it! You drove a cart around all day.
I drove a golf cart around for a few hours.
Creating all the
And,
dust.
yep, kicking up all the dust. But I'll tell you what, I'll take the dust over the mud.
Yep. Yeah, last year there was some serious mud.
Yep. But
Yeah.
I was
You remember that?
Yeah.
Too much, wasn't it?
Well, I'm used to the mud in Florida all the time because it rains every other day.
That's true. It
So
does.
I brought my mud boots, thankfully, this year and last year. But yeah, I think I like the dust more than the mud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can at least wear like a covering or something
Yeah.
as you walk around.
Yeah, the mud, you just slip and you can't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, what was unique about doing the transport is, well, obviously I get to talk to a bunch of different people,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's introducing them. This might be their first time out here, or they're continuing, or
Mhm.
they're here to be with their kids, but it's just making that nicety. But there was a father-son duo that I probably gave a lift to 3 or 4 times,
Mm-hmm.
back and forth, or I brought them in, then they were heading back out, and I survived the combat, or didn't survive the just flying around, and his plane was
Right.
broken. So I
It was
drove
an Aero Scout. I think I saw the guy. That's what I'm saying. I just happened to see the
Yeah,
kid
I
and the
don't-
guy and his kid, and they were talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just
there were a
know-
lot of those conversations today.
Yeah, I just know this one dad son combo. As I was driving around, I just kept seeing them. They were walking in, walking out, walking in, walking out. I gave them a ride a couple times, and they crashed this one going out to the car to grab the other one. And they were, I mean, every time they saw me, they were grinning at me because I just kept seeing them.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and so it was just that. I took a nap afterwards, which was miserable because I couldn't get enough cross briefs through the tent. But then after that,
I'm sorry,
it was
Joe.
no, it's fine. After that, I got started on the Spitfire and just lazily taking my time. I had to finish up the servo extenders and build a power pod and move the motor over from the sea duct power pod, and just getting all the finalizing wiring done. And now a trick that I'm going to use moving forward.
It's okay.
Is it still going?
Yeah.
Okay. A trick that I want to use moving forward. And Jesse, you said you had seen it before.
I had forgotten about it until I saw yours. Like, oh yeah, but I have
So-
seen it.
Anytime, because we do the power pod thing, anytime we need to take the power pod out or we want to disconnect the ESC or do anything, the signal wire coming off the ESC to go to the receiver. It's just real thin, and I'm always worried I'm going to like pull the wires out of the plastic connector trying to pull it out.
When you got all 8 of them in there next to each other.
Right. When you're running 5 or 6 channels, and then the other alternative is to try to go in there and pull just the one plastic piece out, or you're pulling multiple out, and got to hope you put them back in the same order.
Scalpel.
Right.
Tweezers.
So what I ended up doing was taking one of my extensions, cutting it at a couple inch mark, and then putting ends back on. So now I've got a 3-inch servo extender that's for my ESC to plug into the receiver. So it stays plugged into channel 3, and now my ESC just plugs in where I can pull it out, and I got a firm
There's a lot more
thing.
space.
Yeah, I'm not worried about fighting all the other connectors to unplug my ESC.
I kind of like it being really difficult all the time.
Don't
I
plug smoke in it.
was just gonna say it's one of those things that it's a real elegant thing that you should have thought of earlier, kind of thing.
Yeah, as soon as I had the thought, I was, how did I not think of, like, I've got the tools and the wire.
But in the same breath, I know I will think of it and go, nah, forget, I'll do it later.
Yeah. So I mostly worked on the SR-72. I went from not having servos in but nothing connected to, and like most of the things, like everything's connected. I lost the flight controller for a while. It was in a box I checked 3 times but didn't actually check that box.
Yeah, it was the other box that looked just like
I
it
checked
that
4
you
times.
checked 3 times.
Yeah.
I think we lost a little bit of everything a couple times
Oh
today.
my god, it's just that bad. Anyway, so found the flight controller and really went to work at making all the extra connections. So at this point, I'm at the point where I think tomorrow morning I've got to find my XT60 connectors, and then I'll be able to connect everything up, make sure everything's getting powered right and the gyroscope's working, and then we will do a test.
Okay.
And see if we can get it flying. But what my favorite part today was...
I was going to ask everybody, what was your favorite thing that happened today?
Meeting a bunch of listeners who were here, like, got to see the Nisgodas again,
That was
Steve and
cool.
Jack, which was awesome. Like, Spawns is here. He said, hey, meeting Kilroy that first day. Kilroy 07, this is Tim. He's a good buddy I've known forever. I think he was in my first Buildroy. I'm on the, 5th one now? Like, he joined in early in the game, and then he also jumped out. He said, no, I can't do that ever again. but it's been one of those things. He's had a hard year, so this is like a good vacation to get away from the rough year,
Yeah.
But it's been, it's been really good. We got to see Dave earlier today.
Yeah, I got to swing out and see him for a few minutes.
Yep, exactly.
I want to go down there and see him again tomorrow when I'm not driving the golf cart.
Yep, Jason Kennedy. Obviously, Ethan's here. I'm excited you're here, bud. I'm really excited.
I'm glad to be here.
And there's just there's at least like 4 or 5 people I had no idea listened to our podcast came up and said like, oh yeah, I'm a listener. Like, hey, I'm so glad to see you guys.
That's awesome.
Well, we got kayaks out here, which is in our Discord. Tench is out here.
Yep, Tench 745.
Yep, and then
Mike in the pink shirt today.
Mike in the pink shirt. Yep, that's how you said you're gonna remember him. We got to meet him.
By the way, if we're forgetting somebody that we met today, we're really sorry. It's been a long day. My head's full of sleep and ready to go.
Yeah, there was a lot of people. There was a lot of people coming by to see your plane.
Right, Leroy.
Yeah.
Came out and just hung out again today, and like, I got to see him fly his Spitfire.
Oh, and
he got it ready, and it's beautiful. And then we got it set up, and he had I guess he had the Spectrum where he's got the safe, and he got it up in the air, and he's like, what in the heck? And he goes, oh, stupid safe, clicks a button and turns off. He's like, that's much better. And I'm like, oh, that's supposed to make everything better.
That was my first experience with Safe too. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Turn that off.
I think it's because the way you fly the plane is dramatically different. So Safe is like, if you leave it alone, it'll fly straight and level, and you have to push it to tell what way you want it to go other than that, right? Whereas like normally you kind of turn it until it's facing the direction you want, you let it go, and it will go that way until you recorrect it.
Yeah,
like that's how
the way I envision Safe working in my head is you've got a stick through the top of your aircraft and that is your stick. If you want to go up, you've got to hold it up because that's the way the thing's going.
Okay, yeah.
And you turn, you got to hold it to the left because the plane is banked at this point, so it's got to stay in that position.
If you let go, it'll go right back.
But I can't do that because I didn't learn that way.
Right.
I nearly crashed the first plane I took off with safe.
Well, to be fair, the Spitfire has built-in dihedral, so it will begin to autocorrect.
No,
but it's probably a much more.
There was other things going on. He was just like, "Oh, what the heck?" So then I helped him trim it out. So I actually went around and pushed the trims here and there so they got right. Because he's like, I can't let go of these sticks. And I'm like, that's what happened to me with my last the Spitfire the other day. Like I crashed it because I couldn't get to the trims fast enough.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got that working, and he just cruised. He's got an aggressive prop and a pretty good motor on that thing, and it eats up all the real estate real quick.
I watched that one from the sidelines. It was really fun. At first, it looked nervous and a little out of control, but every lap it got smoother and smoother until it was real nice.
Yeah, about lap 3, I think it was in good shape. And then I'm like, okay, can I just be your spotter right now? And he's like, oh yeah, we're good now. Joe, we told you.
All right, that's my wife. I'm going to take this call.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so.
Favorite
Did you
moments.
get video of that?
Yeah, I did. I got a video of that flight.
Oh, I'm excited to see that video.
So that was your favorite thing? It's just meeting all the people.
Yeah, meeting
the listeners.
Yeah,
specifically.
meeting the listeners because I don't know, just. And there was a lot of people who stopped by looking at the SR-72.
That plane was a great.
So it was neat to see the interest.
My favorite moment is it just made me laugh. I was thinking about it. First, I was like the Fireflies, honestly, because I had never seen those. That was really awesome.
Firefly. Did we talk about that last night?
I don't remember, but I was mesmerized.
When we set up here, Fireflies by droves came out, and it's been a long time since I've seen so many.
Again tonight, and then honestly, the favorite moment though was the first thing this morning. Not many people were up and around, and I went over to the build tent and started talking with this 10-year-old, one of my peers, and just he told me everything about his trip and the planes they're working on and his plans for the week, and it kind of got me fired up to work on the day. So.
Yeah. It's a neat place to be where everybody's kind of working at the same enthusiastic goal of just flying and having fun. It's awesome.
You haven't even done any flying yet.
So Ethan, you didn't really. So you got a chance to fly the one plane.
Yeah.
Which of the ones you brought are you most excited about the Betty Bomber or? Because you have that missile, you have a giant missile thing.
Yeah, the missile. I still have to figure out where I'm going to put the motor.
Mm-hmm.
And the control surfaces, but the Betty Bomber is almost ready to fly. I just got to glue it together and finish painting it.
Yeah.
I want to get the missile going. I met the foam cutter guys, and they said they'll make foam cut fins.
Oh yeah, that's right. What is it called? What's the company?
Foamy something.
They're
right over there.
They're right over there.
They have that
3D
cutter, nichrome wire foam cutter.
Right.
I was quite impressed with their setup.
And it's a pretty interesting thing. We'll get more information. I'll see about.
No, they got all excited. They got all excited when I brought the missile over there, and I said, "Hey, let's cut some fins." It's like, "Come by tomorrow."
That's exactly what this machine is for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's awesome. And I think are they cutting out of EPP or EPO foam? They say
polystyrene.
Oh, polystyrene. Okay, yeah. They can cut it out almost anything.
Sure, that's what they have.
Yeah. Okay, good. I don't know. What about tomorrow? Or do we want to worry about that tomorrow?
Tomorrow for me is almost a repeat of today with more flying. My schedule's the same. I've got the same build tent, which I'm looking forward to, seeing the progression of some of these builds.
Good.
But now that I've kind of absorbed day one, I'm going to do a build of my own.
Right. I think I'm going to do stem in the morning. I know there's the, what is tomorrow? We're going to try to do Spitfire fly-in, right? We're going to do one of those. And then the Dawn Patrol.
Yeah.
Is the first day of the Dawn Patrol is tomorrow.
I saw a lot of
they've
those.
got them all set up in the build.
Dawn Patrol was Saturday only.
Really? I thought it was Friday and Saturday.
I overheard it was just Saturday.
Okay, Joe just said he overheard it might be just Saturday, but either way, they're displaying a lot of the models and working on them in the STEM tent, and that's really cool.
Some of those models are amazing.
And I mean models. Those are
Yeah,
like
no, they
those-
are detailed out, smooth. It's like, I look at something, I'm astonished.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're made of foam board.
Well,
Yeah.
a couple of the bigger ones, I was like, I wanted to touch it. I didn't dare just to
Right.
see if it was actually real.
It's extruded
Foam.
polystyrene. It's
Yeah.
some of the wings are extruded polystyrene XPS that they hot wire cut.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Because to get that size, foam board is really hard to make
Yeah.
work.
I think
right?
only that biggest
You know-
one that I'm aware of. Is
You
that
know,
way.
you make
I do
Ethan
like-
makes a ton of big
I've
stuff.
been dealing with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of limitations in that. So,
Whoa.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, guys.
And we're
done.
Just hit on the panic button.
We might edit that out. We may not.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe? Tomorrow, what are you looking forward to doing?
Flying the Spitfire with everybody else I brought them.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully putting that Spitfire into combat.
Okay.
I want to get the flight with everybody done first.
Yeah. Well, I want to do it tomorrow, and I'm gonna see if we can do it Saturday as well if we got still
Yeah,
around.
if they're still flyable.
You know, but we'll
When
see.
is that? I got mine ready. I just gotta find it
Tomorrow
again.
after the. Well, I was gonna do it after the dawn patrol, which I
Okay.
thought was 7 to 10.
Right.
So I was thinking about like 10, or I think there's a combat at 10. So after that combat.
Okay.
Okay, so probably around 11.
Yeah,
Okay.
10:30, 11.
Which, is anybody volunteering tomorrow?
I'm going to volunteer in the morning with the STEM tent if I can, if it's not overlapping with that. Otherwise, I'll do it later in the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm at 4, but
Okay.
I'm
Then
in
yeah,
the evening.
probably around 11. And do we want to just say 11 and I'll put it out in Discord?
Let's say 11.
Alright, 11, I'll put it out in Discord. And,
Okay. And I'll see if we can get a hold of Stefan in the morning and ask him if he could help us.
okay.
That'd be cool. Other than that, man,
Probably wrap it up for tonight.
yeah, let's do that. I'm looking forward to actually eating more regularly tomorrow. I completely forgot to eat dinner. Everything closed down. I was like, oh, man. And then I just went back to building.
Well, food's gone. Guess I'll keep building.
Yeah, no big deal.
Alright, well, we'll catch up with you guys in a few minutes.
It's already there.
I was just thinking.
This is what happens when we wait
Okay.
till 1 o'clock
It's-
after a long day. Now we're gonna do a recording.
Yeah,
Right.
and everybody has to remember to project here.
Do I have to?
Yes. I especially, because I had to bounce off your chest.
Oh, come on. Okay.
Well, see,
is
now
that
you're going
better?
to be quiet.
I'll be fine.
No, turn it to face you. And you and Jesse. Yep, see, there you go.
So, hey, listeners, welcome to Saturday night.
Friday night.
Friday night.
It's Saturday morning, 1
Saturday
o'clock.
morning.
There you go.
Friday night.
I'm just picturing this whole podcast getting goofier and goofier because it's over this whole weekend and we're getting tired.
Oh my God!
Project.
Every day,
Project.
Yes.
every day there is just more hot and more tired.
Today
But
was warm.
Today was warm.
Today was warm.
It was still really good.
It was a blessing for flying. No wind, really.
Oh, it was a beautiful day for flying.
But every time I'd go out and stand in the sun, it's like, why is there no wind?
This is not okay. We did not sign on for this. All right, I'm going back. Retreat, retreat. Son, you have won today.
I won't tell you it's going to be warmer tomorrow.
Shh. No, I know it'll be warmer today, but it really, truly has
He's
been
stuck on
incredible
the
weather.
It's
This-
been beautiful.
Today, the whole trip so far. So we'll cross our fingers it stays that way. Yeah. So what? Let's kind of recap today. I'm punching. There's some weird things that happened after the day ended, as it were.
You want to start at the end and go forward?
I don't know.
No, let's start earlier in the day.
All right.
So we got up, we got our day started. I don't even remember what that entailed at this point.
I got up early. You guys slept in a bit, and I actually went and did the kind of our volunteer meeting.
Mm-hmm.
They even gave me a pancake. That was so nice.
Yeah.
It was a really
Nice.
good pancake.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
hadn't had one in a while. Anyway, my morning was trying to get focused on getting a plane flying. I wanted to do
Right.
combat. I wanted to fly a plane.
Yeah.
So I did. Took a couple tries, but
Yep. Yeah, we were using the old orange can 2212
Yeah, this is.
thousand
I
kV.
mean, I'm using a hand-me-down
It's
Scout.
terrible. It was terrible. The Scout was in great shape. The motor that was attached to it, I was like, you may want to change all these out. And you're like, no, it'll be fine.
I have not flown very many foam planes in a while. I kind of did balsa for a bit, and I'm really getting back into this foam. I'm enjoying it. But I flew a Scout a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember liking it, and I flew this one, and I don't remember it being so
Lethargic.
Yeah, it just don't want to fly very well.
Or it goes for about 10, 9, 8, 7. Oh, it's out.
It kept losing power. I'd have control, and it would just land itself.
It quit.
But then, finally the motor just decided it was done. I put a newer motor on there, and hey, this is what a Scout feels like. I remember now.
That's right.
Yeah. I know I finally maiden the Spitfire today because I got it all. That was today, right?
Yeah, did you maiden it at the Spitfire Gaggle?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay,
right,
so
we had
wait.
Spitfire fly-in.
No, even before that,
Okay.
Ben Harbour flew his B-17, or what was it? What does he have?
He's got the C-47.
C-47, the 24-foot C-47.
It's huge.
It's beautiful. It flies amazing. So that's kind of what punctuated the beginning of my day, is seeing that kind of off in the distance. That was really cool to see. After a little bit of kind of finagling and making sure we had our Spitfires barely ready, we announced the Spitfire Gaggle.
Well, you announced it, I think, yesterday for 11 o'clock.
Yeah, for 11 o'clock, which was combat. I don't know. I thought it wasn't combat, but it was combat.
So we did push that back a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Jesse, you flew in that combat, right?
I did, for about 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
I didn't hit anybody. Nobody hit me. I just kind of decided it was done.
Up and out. And
That's right. I was your spotter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of, you're like, what happened? It's like, I don't know. It just quit. So I haven't done a full combat yet. I'm looking forward to it. The plane is ready for it now.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna
go for it.
I'll get it tomorrow.
Yep, definitely.
I'll be your spotter because I'm out.
Okay.
Oh, right. You gotta tell that.
Well, we'll talk about it in a second. So then we got all the Spitfires together, and it turned out there was about 8 or 10 Spitfires out.
Yeah. So we had kayaks come out.
Yep.
Your camo one was there.
Mm-hmm.
But I also carried your podcast one out.
You did?
That was not all geared up at all.
That was the model.
No.
Yeah.
I know. Joe's giving me an evil eye right there. Did you see that?
No. Then I had mine.
No, I was disappointed we didn't have the mine ready, but we did have one. I had one to fly.
And then Ethan brought his out.
Yep.
And then we had a young kid and his dad brought out.
Yep.
And I watched him fly later today. He was tearing it up.
That was the one with the white foam board top.
Yeah.
And the plain skin. There's another guy that had plain brown skin, but he just painted the green.
Yeah, exactly.
And then one was sharp and one was fuzzy green.
Yeah. So we had a dark green one or something. And then we had dark green, light green camo.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 8. I feel like I'm missing one in there.
We'll post. We took some pictures.
I took a photo.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was fun though, because I don't know that all of them really knew what was going on. We just announced Spitfire Fly, and a couple extras came out.
Yeah, we asked Steph, and Steph like, "Oh, go talk to that guy." And I'm like, he started to announce it, and I'm like, "Hey, make sure you know that it's the Aviation RC Noob one. That'll kind of let some people know that this is that one."
And he just hands you the mic.
And he hands me the mic, and I'm like, "Oh, well, I guess it's mic time."
Yeah, I heard you from a distance over to PA while I was still working on mine.
Yep. And so I just made an announcement. And everybody showed up a little bit later, and we flew. And it wasn't like I think we had to kind of stagger who was flying because there weren't enough spotters. So
yeah, I think only you and I didn't get in the air round one.
Yeah, the first round. But we were being spotted.
There
So it
was
was a
some
good time.
great flying though.
Yeah, there was amazing
a spotter,
flying.
and I was watching pretty much all of them because that's what you do as a spotter. You don't watch your plane.
Right, you're trying to look out for what you're going to hit
But occasionally
into.
I'd hear where's my plane? I was like, you're over there.
As a matter of fact, kayaks, right?
Yeah.
He was going around and he's like, "Oh no, I don't have it. Where's my plane?" And I just happened to glance over, and his is really striking.
Yeah.
So I looked straight out. I'm like, burp, and my hand happened to be next to his head, and I pointed right at it, and he's like, "Oh, thank God."
I think he had the most interesting landing of the day, though.
Did he?
Yeah.
Remind us about it.
I apologize if it wasn't him, but he came in and it went a little bit over the crowd, and just to make sure everybody was safe,
God, yeah.
it landed on the giant tent.
That's right.
With a thud.
He was telling me about that.
On like the Eastern build tent or whatever it is.
Yes. And it was perfect. The people over there said, yeah, it was a graceful landing, slid right down, and they grabbed it for him.
Yeah, thankfully nobody was hurt. The plane wasn't hurt, neither was the tent. It ended up working out. Like, he had throttle cut it by the time I got close to it. Yeah.
It was, he did a good job. He pulled up above the crowds, made sure it cleared that. And
Last thing you want to do is try to turn and go into the crowd directly.
Sometimes when you've got 30 to 150 planes in the air,
Right.
you never.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was surprised that there wasn't like somebody going, like I would do in the foghorn thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Probably didn't have enough time to see it and react.
I don't know. Either way, but it generally all worked out. Most of the planes came home in one piece, and then I think you took. Geez, what did we do? I was building the SR-72. I decided to punt and just rip out the guts and redo them so that I could just do the basics.
Well, yours didn't come back in one piece, did it?
Oh, it did, but it didn't.
You had to walk half a mile out.
Okay, so then that's right. Then Joe and I took ours and go and fly it. Now, I brought mine out and all the way to the back of the field, and everything was going really good. It was flying well. And then it turned in a spiral. Slowly but surely down, 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 because half of the wing was losing lift. What I found out was because the skin that was on that had pulled up.
Yeah.
And it was blocking all the aileron controls and half of the lift on the left.
It was spoiling, yeah.
And it was creating a drag rudder on the left side of the plane. So it was just going a slow spiral down. I wasn't going to go any faster or better. Thankfully, it came down gently enough where I just had to put a little bit more glue and some tape on the leading edge, and it was ready to go again.
But that was about as far out as I saw anybody today going.
That was way at the end of the beam field.
Route.
That sucks.
Just at some point, I was walking over and Jesse's, because I had already done my maiden flop, where hand launched it and the rudder was nothing was trimmed out right. My vertical and horizontal stabs were all warped from the skinning process.
Mm-hmm.
So it come out of the hand and immediately yawed left towards the other pilots and other people, and so it was yank and pull it straight back and throttle up and down.
Evasive maneuvers.
Yeah, and I managed to just dump it safely.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I grabbed mine and went back to start doing some repair work. And I think as I was making my way back out, Jesse, you passed me. You're like, Matt's way out there. I've got time to go back to camp, get him drink, and bring it back.
I went and got ice water for him because I knew he was going to be tired.
I came back and you're like, hey, want some ice water? I'm like, oh, nice, thanks. That was a big help. That was pretty cool. But I mean, we were doing our jobs. Like Jesse, you were doing the build tent, the monitor. Joe, did you do your stuff today?
No, I'm not on schedule till tomorrow morning.
Okay. I don't think the STEM tent had much of a schedule.
I don't think so either.
For people, but anyway, I went to the STEM tent and helped out here and there. I helped a little bit with John Overstreet's B-40 Warbird build, just a Warhawk. It was neat to kind of see those come together. Those skins are really, the print-on skins, they look better than I thought they would. They're
really pretty sharp.
Yeah, they're very sharp. I might pick myself up one just because.
This tent cover is dripping all over me.
Don't sit under the dripping part.
But this is where we're recording. I'm just saying.
We can move.
No, we're good. I'm just... this canopy is just dripping all over me. All right.
Okay,
anyway.
That's pretty much been this weekend. Anyway, so...
It's dry, except at night when it gets dewy.
Exactly, right? And then so I went back to... I was in and out of the tent, basically slowly but surely working through the SR-72 issues and getting that ready, making sure the Spitfires were ready. Jesse, you then went in the 2 o'clock combat?
I was in the 2 o'clock combat. Pretty much the same results. That was the second attempt on the same weak motor, and it finally just never came back to life. And we're like,
Yeah.
okay, no, it's.
Right, and then when you were done, I'm like, look, let's go back and just take the motor off,
Yep.
put a new one on, and let's get.
And we did, and we.
And then we went back out and
tested
tested it.
outside of combat, and it was great.
Yeah, which is cool. So I was like, nice. All right, well, I'm gonna go.
So I don't have a volunteer shift tomorrow. I'll help out if I need to.
Yeah.
But I've got the day to build something and get that thing in combat.
Right. Nice. I'm looking
Nice.
forward to that. I remember morning combat is what, 10 o'clock or something like that?
11.
11 o'clock?
Because I got Dawn Patrol tomorrow morning.
That's right. They have Dawn Patrol, and that's what I was part of working on tonight. Was I brought a plane to put in Dawn Patrol, but I still had to put servos and stuff in it and hook up. Whatever. Anyway, so
You skipped over the my favorite part of the day, though.
okay, so let's go back.
I
But
mean, no,
I'm just
you-
saying that's the Dawn Patrol tomorrow.
Yeah,
is,
I got it.
I worked on some of that tonight.
I-
We'll get into the most part. Okay, so the SR-72.
Yeah, that.
I fixed out the guts. I got all the control surfaces working, and then we went. We went and tested the CG. 'Cause that was a big next step of that project.
Yeah, I come up halfway through this process, like, what in the world? So you're doing the
Anybody-
glide test.
I'm
The
doing the
glide-
glide test, and I don't want to put a ton of weight on it, because if it does go bad and crashes, the less weight in the plane, the better, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, where's going to be the least amount is over the nose. Like, what can we fit over the nose? Like, I know, a roll of tape. So we take a roll of tape and we tape it to the nose.
No, this is a nearly full roll of the packing tape you would put on those like box sealing machines.
It's just kind of heavy.
Heavy.
What's
and
the point?
Bulky. And I started laughing right away because we were trying to get this tape roll on there, and it dawns on us, hey, this is tape.
You're just sticking it on the nose, the pointy cone
Just
nose.
trying to get this
It won't stay. It just, oh, wait, tape.
Right. So we give it a quick toss, and it's very evident that it's
Tail heavy.
It's tail heavy, so it's going to go up and come around. It's like, okay. So that didn't work out. It did a little bit of damage, but that's fixable. So we say, okay, we need more weight. And I look around, I'm like, oh, we forgot to bring any weight. So I'm like, I know, I've got keys.
We tried to balance the keys.
So I don't even tell Jesse what to do. I just, here's some keys, put it on there.
We're like trying to stuff it in the tape roll.
Like,
And
what do I do with this?
Oh, wait, tape.
exactly.
So we literally tape it in with the tape.
And it wasn't enough.
Yeah, and it wasn't enough, but it was getting better.
Getting better.
And so we're like, okay, I've got a wallet. It's like a Costanza wallet. It
We're
weighs like.
pulling random things out. Like, what can we tape to the nose of this
I'm
airplane?
like, hey, this wallet should fit in between the tape roll and the nose. Should be fine. So he's like, oh yeah, okay. So we jimmy rig it, and then we get it going, and sure enough, it's perfect.
It was beautiful.
And it just goes, and it sails not very far. You could tell it was the kind of glide you want. It wasn't listing
you
up,
build a glider.
and it wasn't going down, right?
Yeah, it's not a glider.
No.
But it went flat.
It's
Yeah,
a
which is what you want in a glide
Exactly.
test.
it's a gently dumping brick.
Yep.
It's pretty much how it flies at slow flight.
It's falling with style.
That's it, about right.
Thank you, Woody.
Nice. So that was a success.
Yes.
And with that, we were able to determine where the CG is, which is where the wings kind of touch in with the main body, which is awesome. So we're good, and we have it on tape. So it really happened.
It's on one of these phones.
I've got it.
Okay, good.
So yeah. So that was a big part of today for me. What about you, Joe?
Well, what was actually the end of that? Is
Oh,
like
okay.
this weight was lifted off. He was like, it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big weight.
Yeah, and you had a couple people during glide test, like walking by or riding by on their bikes, and they just hit the brakes. Whoa, is that happening? I'm like, Joe, guys, it's good. It's just a glide test.
They're like, are we throwing? I'm like, I'm not gonna fly it from out here.
At this point, the entire camp is waiting for that maiden flight.
I know. I'm worried.
No pressure.
No pressure. It should
No
be fine.
pressure.
Well, I'm excited to see what happens. I hope. I have a little bit of mixing to do with the electronics, but it'll go tomorrow.
Yep.
What about you, Joe?
Yeah. Well, we got to meet a whole lot of new people.
Mhm.
Or we saw some people we met yesterday. We met a couple more today. Mike was out there again,
Yep.
spotting us, and I think Tinch came out to spot. Dave came out to see the Spitfire fly
Like
in.
Dave Reesley.
Yep. Dave came out to have a look, and he spotted for us, and I was spotting, you were spotting, and Jesse was spotting. So we had enough spotters to get, everybody but us up in the air, which is fine.
Which is good.
And then I maiden and had a bad maiden and doinked it and had to do some stuff and work out my trims and all, and got another flight on it a little while later.
But you got it sorted out.
Yeah, you were with me on that one, which I had to. I'm glad you don't mind reaching across and putting trim in for somebody.
No. That's sometimes the best way. I've already lost a couple birds by me trying to put in trim because it was that far off, and I'm like, yeah, if you need me to touch the trim, you just fly the thing, make sure it doesn't crash, and we'll help.
Yep.
And it works out.
It's nice to. I'll keep it go because I don't want to take my eyes off to look at the button.
Yep.
So
even if you don't, it's still tough to click the trim and keep the sticks in the right spot if you're having to if it's squirrely.
I should really set up that Insta trim button.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I heard that's a feature.
It is a feature. I have it. I don't use it.
Right.
But you can set up on the radios that we have. Just flip a switch, and wherever your sticks are right now, like if you're holding it steady,
it becomes your
that becomes your trims. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which makes it much easier to fly.
You might have to do it a couple times to perfect, but yeah.
So I got a few flights on the Spitfire, and each time got it dialed in more and more where I wanted it.
And you had a pretty aggressive prop on it for a little bit.
Yeah, I got some props from Tinch, 8x6s.
Yep.
That were, and he had I think he had an 8x8 that I was tempted to put on it.
Yeah, he had a couple that were designed specifically for gassers, I think, for the old school motors, and
that 8x6 was cooking as it was.
That was moving.
It chewed up that airfield.
Yep.
And that first flight you had, that I had the second maiden, so the second flight. I was going to try to set it down on the runway because it was finally getting about where I wanted. This is the point of, okay, it has flown. Let me get on the ground. Let my nerves recover. Let me take a break.
Yep.
And I cut power because it just wasn't going to land where I couldn't get it on the airstrip. And I said, all right, let me just set it down. The beans are soft. And I cut power, and it just flew and flew and flew. It did not want to come down to the ground. And finally, it set down gently in the beans and got it. And did another flight later, and it flew nice. I didn't get it on the. I have yet to land on the runway at this place.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
Because it's a nice runway. That's all.
It is. I mean, some of the guys were greasing landings, and they just slide 20 feet or so. It's awesome to watch. But
something to practice when you're at home.
Per your recommendation, so my horizontal and vertical stabilizers are all warped from the skinning process.
It looked like a slight foam.
It was something. So I tried gluing a barbecue skewer under the length of the elevator.
Yep.
Just try to pull the curve out, and it pulled a little bit out, but not all of it.
You gotta get it in there, hold it steady for a long time.
Well, I sort of almost spot welded it with hot glue. It was holding it into position.
Okay.
But the skewer flexes.
That's true, it does.
So I got it as best I could. Sent that out, was flying good. I was happy with it. I got some decent flights with it.
So did it fly better with the? Did you do any bracing?
Just on the horizontal.
Okay. So did it fly better then?
It did.
Okay,
a little
good.
bit.
A little bit.
Like I said, by this point I was largely getting it trimmed out. I went in and did some sub trims individually on the ailerons so that they were positioned correctly. Got the rudder lined up better, and just got it better and got it in the air, and flew it around for a while, and some nose ends and some at one point my power pod came loose because the barbecue skewer from impacts was ripping the power pod as it was sliding forward.
Okay.
So I had to redo that hole, but ended up putting it in combat, which now I'm kind of wishing I had waited for you for tomorrow so we could have been in it together. But
it really, I have a couple of the planes I want to just throw in the air. I don't know how many comments. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'm glad you got into the combats. Like, the combats are fun. If you can fly in them, they're a riot.
Yeah.
And kayak spotted for me.
Yep.
But by the time we got to the airstrip to do combat, we were sort of like the last one walking up.
Yeah.
It was full. Like,
Way
full. There, I was kind of hoping I could tuck in the middle, and they were shoulder to shoulder.
Right.
So I had to go way down to the end, and this was the 7 o'clock. Yeah, 7 o'clock combat. So the sun was
last one
already
of the day.
setting. So had glasses on, had my hat on, but even then, way down at the end, a lot of the time I was looking into the sun, so I was keeping it, where I wasn't staring into the sun, but it had me way off on the end, so I wasn't hanging out in the middle of it. I was flying back out to me,
Yep.
looping wide, and then kind of flying straight in.
Straight into the swarm.
Yep, straight into a swarm, and then, Dave spotted for me on a flight. I just got a random flight. And,
Yeah, nice.
not Dave, Mike.
Okay.
Mike spotted for me. That was nice. He and I had a good time, and then I spotted him on his XL Scout.
Good.
But then during combat, it was just flying through the swarm, and I was like, with me hanging out more to the side and diving in periodically, I'm not trying to take anybody out. I'm just trying to keep her in the air and have a good time.
Be part of it, yeah.
Yep. And at some point, I heard a little zzz as I saw my plane get real close to somebody else's, and I thought I had hit them. Like maybe I prop smacked them.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't notice it initially, which tells me the damage wasn't severe on the hit, but it was enough. And as I continued flying, it just started not flying right.
Okay.
And the end of the what actually happened was the prop was on the prop hit was from the other guy, and he chewed up part of my elevator.
Okay. That makes it hard to fly out here.
It does. Yeah. So
It's an important bit.
Yeah.
So by the time I got on the ground, the elevator was half off, and probably would have been completely useless to me, except that barbecue skewer I glued in was kind of keeping it. Yeah, but I was like, man, this thing is just not responding right. And Kayak says, somebody hit your elevator. And I said, what? He said, yeah, I can see the light shining through when you're banking. And I said, oh, that explains why it's not flying well.
Okay.
And I said, well, I'll keep it up there. I'll keep flying and see if I can make it through the combat and then do repairs.
Yeah.
And it just got worse and worse and worse. And finally I said, you know what, let me set it down. I'll just do the repairs. And it was bad trying to land it. And so I cut power, let it come fairly steep in, and knew that I would pull back hard and just try to float it down and set it. And it ended up being coming pretty nose down, pull back, and it just rotated and belly flopped.
Oh no.
And the belly flop ripped the rudder off.
Man.
And then snapped the Spitfire in half sideways.
Oh, it happened again.
Yeah, go figure.
Yay.
You've already seen it. But yeah, the same place.
And you had the same response. You're like, I'm not going to repair this. This is no good. And I'm like, man, you give it to me for about 20 minutes, I'll get it fixed up.
You should see what people repair and put back in the sky for these combats, though.
I
You could
know,
fly it again.
I know.
And were you surprised by that, Jesse?
Not really, but watching it happen is like, okay, that's gonna fly? Sure. And by golly, they do fly.
Yeah. Some of them managed to fly pretty well.
Yep. So all the reinforcements I had done in the wings and all didn't do me any good because it was an elevator strike that took me out.
Yeah, everybody's like, get him in the tail. That's the only way. But yeah,
Yep.
that's not easy either. That was a pure luck shot, I'm sure.
It was a really good time. I enjoyed it. I don't think I'm gonna have time tomorrow to get the other Spitfire built and into combat. So
You could probably cut out a new elevator and rudder.
He's
And
got one he was just holding up without a motor.
I did. You could probably just
Yeah,
put
he's
in the servos.
Got a spare, apparently.
I actually have the servos. I
just
mean,
cut
it's
off the
okay.
back end of your plane and glue it onto
Oh
mine.
my god, you could do that. You could do that.
I could.
You'd have to put in the servos though.
So
That's funny.
after all
That's
that
good.
after all that was done, I started tinkering around again with my Tiny Whoop, which I hadn't talked about yet, but I bought a Tiny Whoop.
Ooh.
Yep.
We're gonna have races around my house when you come visit.
Yeah. Well, I gotta get it flying right first. So I went over to the Tiny Whoop tent
Mm-hmm.
and was like, hey,
So did you meet Jesse Perkins? So Jesse Perkins is like the Mr. Tiny Whoop. He's like the guy who invented it. He sells the product. That's his product.
Maybe.
Much.
I met.
He's a tall, thin dude.
Yeah, I think I probably met him.
You saw him last year, but you probably met him this year.
Yeah, probably that was.
He
probably
runs
him.
the races. He does the show.
He came over and was trying to help me, and he's looking at it like it's bound. It just doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And he was well, your channels are in the wrong order, and I flipped them around, and no, they were in the right order to begin with, because then I couldn't even get the on-screen menu. So I could dial in my goggles into the feed from my Tiny Whoop, and you can do a stick combo and access the menu.
Yeah, that's how it's set up.
Yeah, but I couldn't get it to arm. I couldn't get it to fly or do anything. And I put my name into the race, but then had to step over and say, look, I got to bow out because I can't get her flying.
Right.
Brought it back, trying to figure everything out.
It's the inverter.
Yeah, that's his inverter. Let me go shut that off real quick, and then we'll continue. Hold on for a second.
Here, hold my beer.
Yeah, don't pause. I'll be right back. I can edit it out.
Save. You gotta be power.
Yeah, I'll save it. I hear you. I'm coming.
Well, Jesse, why don't you talk about what you did today?
Well, I think I kind of have throughout this. I mean, I did the combats.
Were you building a Flurkin?
Oh, I forgot about the Flurkin.
Yeah, you. I think you bought a Flurkin, didn't you?
I bought a Flurkin yesterday. It was my plan to have another plane to work on while I kind of do the combats with the Scout. The Flurkin is a great, really cool looking aircraft.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm going to finish it.
We went out to the Flurkin fly-in.
Yeah.
What'd you think after watching all those launch?
They're still great. I'll be nervous just like any maiden flight, but launching it like a Frisbee is going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just kept finding people to watch, people to help.
There's so much going on.
Spotting for people that I can't just sit down and build.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
you
guys know me when we're doing our build channels and I'm at home. I don't build while I'm talking to people.
No.
So I may get it done.
Yep.
In time to take it home. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
But I don't have to work tomorrow. Or volunteer or whatever. So I may have some time to focus on that.
Yeah. You might. Yeah.
Oh, back to me?
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, welcome. Joe's back sitting down with us, so.
Yeah. So came back, had to download the EMU Flite configurator.
Yeah, the EMU Flite.
EMU Flite.
Very exciting.
Yeah. So what I found out is
fly.
Emus, I heard sometimes if they're in the right situation. Like they have 4 motors.
Huh. I just thought it'd be kind of hilarious to get a flight program that your mascot can't fly. But maybe they. Okay, I'm sorry. Just
I don't know.
One of those things.
But it's a bird. Go ahead.
So y'all got me all off track now.
You know what time it is, man.
This is the comedy hour with Jess and Matt. Watch out.
Anyway, so I got the thing downloaded, and what it came out to be was, even though I had set the channels that I thought were correct, the arming channel was wrong, the way I was looking for aux controls. So
you had to reset how those are situated.
I had to get into configurator and switch that around, and then it armed it recognized. But originally I put the motors and the props into the Tiny Whoop, and then I thought they were backwards, and so I pulled them and reversed them. But once I got it to arm and fly, the Whoop would go straight up. It would just start spinning in circles, and I had no control. So now I'm thinking I actually had my motors right the first time, so I just swapped them back.
Okay.
But all the batteries are dead, so I can't test it yet.
Right. Looks like you have one ready, but the other ones are still charging.
Right, and the difficulty, like, they're supposed to be bind pretty much and fly. There's videos on it, but I bought the FT Tiny Whoop SE from the shop. Great value. I'm great with it. The Whoop, the quad, the camera, everything for like $85 or something.
Right,
Under
100, I think.
Yep, bought a few batteries for it. So I could have some fun. But their setup process is very simple if you buy the transmitter that they want to sell alongside it. Which
Okay.
good for them that it's quick and easy in that regard.
Right.
But if you're trying to do it with like my Radio Master, it's more involved. And so there's been a process trying to get that flying. So I might have it flyable for tomorrow night's Whoop races. But it's just been an adventure, to say the least, so far.
I bet.
But you're learning new things.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't think I was going to be serial porting into my Tiny Whoop to do some stuff. But yeah, if you're going to get this thing and buy the little gamepad controller that flies it, great. If you're not, and you're going to try to use your OpenTX or something, just know you're going to have to go in and configure stuff and
Just be
test
prepared.
it.
Okay.
When it's in the configuration, you can see what because it'll still, if you got the battery hooked up to it, you'll still receive. You can still have it bound and receive the information. Just you see what it's doing, and I got to flip this around and move this, and so I'm getting there.
Okay.
But even with all of that, I mean, I don't have any little quads. The tiny whoops are intriguing. They're fun. They look easy.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, sometimes they're not. But I still want one. I think it's still something that eventually I'm gonna have to get one.
Yeah, I'm guessing you'll have fun. You'll be setting up a couple gates, and you'll be zooming around your house.
Yeah,
Because they're set up to be mostly indoor.
Sure. The only thing keeping me right now is I have no FPV gear, which you guys have, so it wasn't quite as big a
Right.
jump in. I would have to get everything, and I'm not quite there yet.
Not quite there yet.
Well,
that's
at
fair.
this point, if you bought the Tiny Whoop, all you would need to do is buy some goggles.
Yep.
Because you've got 3-cell batteries. Like if you got the goggles I got that Matthew got me, which is the Cyclops, I think, they take a 3-cell battery and they got the adapter to tie it in to power it. So you could do that, and I think Matt, you picked those goggles up probably on sale.
The Cyclops were on sale, and it was an amazing price. So if you watched Hobby King for the Cyclops, you might be able to get those. They're a great starter.
Okay.
You may want to upgrade later, but
they're
you'll
no-
be able to have a good time with them for a while.
I'm sure they're no fat sharks,
It-
but
Look, so I've got the Sky Zone 02s or whatever they're called. And I did a comparison, and honestly, they were pretty close. I think the difference was when they cut out differently. Sky Zones went to fuzz more often than the other ones went to black sometimes, and that kind of is like, ooh. But otherwise, their picture quality was comparable. They have a DVR, and they have diversity, both of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was really, for a $180 price difference, okay.
I'll keep that in mind.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's something to consider, but just know that they're low-end stuff. Like, it's $35 version. I think not on sale, they're about $90. They're still reasonable.
and
Box goggles.
I get my Whoop up and running and working properly tomorrow, you can slap the spare goggles on and ride along.
Yeah.
And
Take a look.
it's great. And what I liked about it is apparently a couple kids out there had some certain Whoops that were band locked. So you got bands and then the channels within the bands for their videos. Oh, that's that water running. Scared the
He
mess
just
out.
jumped foot and a half.
Jeez. All right,
You
but
okay?
yeah, I'm good. So
All right.
so many kids got these Whoops that you got bands and then channels within the bands, and they were locked to the B band, but it looks like the Flite Test Tiny Whoop SE that I picked up has access to all the bands, and then all the channels.
It's
within
pretty
those
close.
bands.
Yeah, and you'll have to just choose. It's actually really interesting how they have the FPV set up here. So they set up basically the left and right side of the field have a series of like 6 or 8 chairs, and I think it's
6, because they're
6.
reserving 2 channels,
They're reserving 2 channels. I think 8 and 2 because
8 and 7.
okay, you clearly know a little bit more about it than I do.
I was listening to the announcement. 7 they're using for troubleshooting, and 8 they're using for their own FPV platforms to fly around and watch stuff.
Okay. Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. And that way you can have 1 through 6 and do the thing you need to do And basically the way they set it up so that way you don't have to have a big monitoring system is if you're sitting in the chair, the number in front of you, that's the channel you're on. And you're in earshot of all the other people who are doing FPV near you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're on the other side of the whole place. So it's a pretty clever way to set it up where you don't need to have, I don't know, some sort of board system and a monitor Gestapo and yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, we've been going for a minute now. Anything else exciting?
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah. I'll take the blame on that,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, for now.
So, we got to watch
You're missing one really important part to the end of the night.
Oh, what's that?
Building biplanes by karaoke.
Oh, well, that's your
good.
story.
Wow. Well, from my point of view, I'm over here with Joe, and I realized that Matt is trapped in this tent. It's the STEM tent where he was building.
Right.
And
so
all of a sudden I realized there's karaoke coming out of this tent.
He missed that announcement.
No, not entirely. But we were doing Dawn Patrol stuff. Everybody brought their Dawn Patrol planes in. They were kind of working on them and getting them. I'm like, that's a great idea. Let me go get mine. And I brought it in, and Dan Spons was in there, who kind of started at that Wilma Racer, which is Joshua Orchard, and no wait, I'm getting that backwards. Anyway, Joshua Orchard, Wilma Racer, and Spons were in there. With Keegan was there, and he's in our. They're in our Discord server. They say hey all the time, so it's great to really meet him face to face and chat. And then, so I'm building away, and they're like, "Dude, are you gonna get this done by tonight? You think you have it ready by tomorrow?" I'm like, "Not by dawn, but it should be ready." And he's like, "Okay, cool, that's great." So we're all working on our stuff. They're like Keegan was building a Scout from scratch, a Scout XL, and they're just chatting or whatever, and all of a sudden karaoke starts up. And I realized I have a lot more to do on my plane. And then I was thinking like, well, I could move. It's kind of a pain in the butt. I'll just bear with it. Karaoke was bad.
Oh, easy now.
I mean, it was karaoke. So isn't that almost within the definition?
I'm sitting across the camp here, and I can't tell what song they're singing.
It's pretty bad.
Part of it is I can't hear the music from this distance and just hear the voices.
But what I noticed, well, also I had like Merv, who had helped me out with SR-71, like the linking some of the things in properly. He was helping troubleshoot. A friend of Tim's, and I'd met him earlier. I've seen him on the forums. He and I were talking about some stuff, but basically, when they rolled in, they were ready to have fun. I think they were each a couple sheets to the wind. Everybody's having a good time. The singing was awful, but the fun was big.
Honestly, the crowd watching the singer was doing a lot of the singing.
Oh yeah, I don't know, but maybe the singer wasn't having fun as much.
It looked like a blast in there.
Yeah, they were having their kind of fun. They were enjoying it. So I was trying to get the build done. It was bad singing by my account, but they were having fun. That's part of the fun. That was a part of it.
Well, you also got to go. We got to go out and see Jack Nisgoda fly the Black Widow for a few minutes.
Yep, Jack Nisgoda and Steve came by and said, "Hey, check out the P-61 we finished up." And apparently, Jack does the design, he does the builds, he'll fly them, but his dad paints them and takes photos. Well, he did an amazing paint job on that P-61.
Yeah, he did.
And he did like the nose art by hand. He did that.
That's impressive. I haven't seen this.
Yeah, it's impressive. And he did the windows. The windows turned out really well. It's just, and then of course watching Jack fly, I should put my controller down now.
Yeah.
I mean, that kid is really talented.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah, almost forgot about that. So,
anything else big and exciting today?
I'm sure I've missed something.
Peter Schriepel's building a giant plane, and it's steadily making headway.
I saw that.
I think it's going to be, I don't know.
Well, the idea I heard is he wants to put that into combat with the title Giant Plane versus 100 Little Planes.
Right. And can we take it down?
Yes, he's pretty confident that he's not going to get hurt.
I don't think so. It's too massive.
It is very massive.
And
There
the
are
props are-
there are a few weak points,
Yes.
and there were a couple. People in there scheming on ways to take him down. There is one gentleman building what is going to be a fantastic looking sea turtle airplane.
Okay. Sea duck or
No, a sea turtle, like literally a shell, front legs, back legs, neck, sea turtle. And
nice.
then he started talking. It's like, I wonder if I can carry up a net and drop it over and bind up a few of the props or something. So they're scheming. They're trying to find ways to bring down this big plane.
I would say that doesn't sound fair, but at the same point, that's the game. So
Right.
Well, when you're taking a plane that size up.
It is massive. I think
Yeah.
it's supposed to be, what, 30-something foot wingspan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at that
it's
point,
big.
he's swinging wooden props that are not going to break on the
And
the
yeah,
other
the
little
fuse
foam
is
planes
made
there.
out of, inch thick, dense styrofoam.
Yeah.
XPS,
I don't know what it is.
extruded polystyrene, the insulation foam you have in your house.
Okay.
I'd put money on he doesn't take the lawn dart challenge at the end of the combat.
No, probably not. Although
If it survives that long.
my plane might. Anyway, go ahead.
Nice. It'll be a spectacle we'll talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. We'll
Yep.
worry about that tomorrow.
Well, this one went long, but there was a lot of exciting stuff, and we got to
Yep.
meet again, see some more familiar faces, and
I met a
meet
lot of
some
people.
others.
I met a lot of people in the STEM tent and around, just talking, who are like just new, and they, I just mentioned about being a host of a podcast, or just like, hey, there's a thing, and they were very receptive, and then some of the guys signed on right away. So it was a hi, Aaron, Keith, and Dave, I think. I was talking to at dinner, and just because we were sitting down near each other. I don't know. It's just nice. It's nice to be able to talk to people, meet up. Oh, I met up with a guy that I saw last year, and he's like, "Dude, you're the guy with the butter knife." I'm the butter knife guy to him, but he listens to the podcast, and his girlfriend was there with she's a vet tech, and they were just catching up. It was nice. So it was good. It's been a good day so far. A good day today.
all right. Well, let's wrap it up for tonight.
All right. Good night.
Oh, just that
was
quick.
a while ago.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we'll continue this tomorrow.
Matt's tired.
Yeah,
Let it sit for a second.
That's it. We'll do it a little bit this time.
Okay, we're recording,
All right.
and we'll just see where it goes.
Put it up there.
Oh, we can.
I'm going to put it up here. All right, there it goes.
Dark 30 again.
It's sitting on top of the shaving kit. Just remember to project.
All right.
Do I have to?
Yes. Okay, so where were
What
we?
time is it now?
Talking about Dawn
Late?
Patrol being at dawn?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
So we talked about working last night on the Dawn Patrol plane. Well, we ran into Spawns after I don't know what, and I'm like, hey, Spawns, what's the deal with the Dawn Patrol thing? Are we doing that yet? And it was like 10 o'clock. I think the first combat maybe. And
11 o'clock.
11. I don't remember. Time's been an amorphous
Time is
thing.
weird today.
And he said, he goes, yeah, we did that already. Like dawn. And I'm like, was it really at dawn? It's like, well, okay, maybe 8, but yeah, pretty much Dawn Patrol's at dawn. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess so. He said, well, I was sleeping really good, so I chose that instead. Well, we got something at 11:30. And but I ended up getting in a conversation with a full-scale pilot and a
missed that
full-scale
too.
instructor, and missed that too.
Well, that was the World War I flying, right?
Yeah, it was a World War I, like
Oh,
a
the
streamer
flying.
combat. And I was like, I just completely missed it too. And I was like, afterwards, I'm like, darn. Oh, well.
So, did you fly the...
No, because I was about to pick it up and fly it, and then the bottom wings got all wobbly, and I said, forget it. I'm done.
Okay.
I'll build it. I took it apart, I'll build it again, and fly it in my home field. I'll fly it.
Yeah.
There'll be a
good.
video of it, but...
But we did get some good flying and stuff.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, there's more awesome things that happened today than that. So,
There was a lot happened today.
so the World War I stuff did not happen for me, is all. That's how it started today.
Oh, well,
It didn't happen for me.
my day started by getting up, eating that delicious breakfast sandwich you made for me.
Yeah, that's.
Is that the one we dropped?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It was.
No, we let
5
the
second
ants-
rule. He's just still in the tent. He doesn't know.
No, that's the one with the ants cooked in it.
Oh, right.
Oh, delicious! I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, the extra little flavor.
That's right. I
We don't
thought
have-
it had a little extra kick to it.
We didn't have salt and pepper, so we had to do something.
Yep. No, my day started off. I got up, had that sandwich, and
Mm-hmm.
pittered around for a little bit, and then had to hop on the cart for my 10:30
Yeah, I think
golf cart trip.
you got up at like 9. You know, Jesse and I were up for the morning
Dawn
volunteers
patrol?
meeting. No, for the
Not quite.
I actually saw a couple of them coming in when I got up, but
Well,
Yeah.
I could not have been up that early because we never finished editing the episode that went out this morning. So
oh yeah, we didn't.
I
I mean,
was-
you did.
I was down in that tent, the build tent. Yeah, I didn't.
So your
Yeah.
day started with editing the podcast, then going to bed.
Yeah. Well, and then even as I was editing the podcast, a fella come up to me and was talking to me, and he's like, "I keep pulling you away. I'm so sorry." I'm like, "It's fine." You know, I was like, "I gotta go through all this anyway." He's like, "You're young. You should get some sleep. Take care of yourself." But all that said, I got it all edited, exported, and while I was exporting, I carried the laptop back over here while I was exporting. Actually climbed in the bed.
Yeah.
I was laying there while it was exporting. It drifted off, and I woke up and it finished exporting. Let me upload it. So it uploaded, and while it was processing, I ended up falling asleep. Woke up. It's done processing. Okay, and then I was able to put it up and finally.
it's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. It's like I don't remember hitting the submit or the publish button this morning,
But it
but
happened.
the episode went up somehow.
You should have. Well, one of us is. Well, I'm not driving. I'll have to publish it to Facebook and let people know. I completely forgot to do that.
Yeah, you're normally 3 or 4 days behind anyway, so it's
Oh,
okay.
get out of town. That's usually midday. Get out of here. Get out of here.
So,
All right. So
you,
what? So
you got something in the air today.
who are you talking about?
You.
Me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got something up.
So this whole trip, I'm like working on this SR-72. It's been perched on this table. It's long and taking up the whole table, and people are coming over and commenting. And I'm like, we did the glide test last night, so I'm like, we need to finish this and get it going. So I get an extension because I had to figure out how to place the battery.
Yep.
So they have a hobby shop basically, and there's a guy who's like, I'll do stuff, solder stuff for you. I'm like, cool, you do that while I do this combat or whatever it was. And then when we were done, I think I was spotting our neighbor Ethan with his Brown Betty or whatever.
And when it went down, yeah.
No, before that, when he was flying with the Nisgodas.
Oh, okay.
So the Nisgodas came out, Jack and Steve and Ethan went out there with his 200 scale, so the 2 times blow up of it, and then they took a bunch of pictures and they did a flyby and did a whole circuit and then a ton of pictures, and it was wild success. He could have flew that thing for an hour. His battery is like an 18 amp hour battery.
God.
That's like, it's ridiculous.
It's like made for a lawnmower or something. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
made for something massive, or like a giant drone, like a
Yeah.
big one. So he had that flying around, and he was just tooling it around the sky and had a good old time.
It looked
So
great.
Yeah, it looked great. So I helped him do that while they were making that lead. So when the lead was done, I put it in, I got it all set, and I started spinning up the motors, and at 50% throttle, the left motor, for whatever reason, would either hit something and it would stutter or whatever, but it would never really go much past 50%. But that's a lot of thrust on a 6S. So I was like, okay, maybe this is enough. But I was trying to figure out how to put wheels, and I'm like, I don't know. And then Jesse's like,
Sorry, I just remember that part of the conversation.
what did you tell me, Jesse?
I said, you should just get somebody to run underneath it and toss it.
How did you put it like somebody or just somebody?
No, I said that first, then it dawned on me. It's like, wait, that somebody's me, isn't it? And, oh well.
He's like, oh, that's probably going to be it.
Yeah. It
All right.
was.
I'm like, would you mind?
Yeah, no.
And you said, no, I'll do it. I'll look silly, but okay.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Steve Nisgoda got an awesome action shot of you releasing it.
Oh, good.
Oh,
I'd like to
nice.
see that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing some of the photos that people were taking.
You looked
amazing.
Yeah, you look like a rock star.
No, it was nerve-wracking because I know all the effort put into that thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna fall on my face and land on it, and it's done, you know.
Right.
Matt says you look like a rock star. I say you look like you tripped on a rock. But
Right. That's what I was expecting to happen.
No,
it was a good picture.
Yeah, so we kind of got the attention of the announcer, and I said, hey, do we have a bunch of things coming up, or like, do we have a little bit of time? He's like, no, we've got some time. I said, well, I've got the SR-72. I said, I announced it to the build tent that I was in, because everybody's been coming by. I said, but they're not the only ones who've seen this thing and been asking about it. So would you mind making an announcement? So he said, hey, I'd like to talk to everybody. Matt's going to tell you, this guy's going to tell you about this new project. I'm like, oh, crap, not me again. I don't want to be it. Okay, I'm on the mic.
MC Matt.
Right. So then I, put on my podcast hat and start just explaining what's going on with it. And we get a bunch of people. How many people were out there? About 20?
At least, yeah.
No, there was more than that. There was quite a crowd came out to watch that.
So there was quite a crowd to see whatever happened with this project, right? So I get everything set up, and I tell Jesse, okay, go for it. And then I realized I had my throttle cut on.
So
and I'm like, no,
I start
hold on.
running with this plane, and he's like, wait. I'm like, oh.
Because he was about to toss it.
I was
at that
about
point.
to just...
Oh. So I was like, no. And he's like, okay. So he holds back. I flip the throttle. Okay, now go. And he's like, okay.
You sure this time?
He runs and he tosses it, and I kick it on, and I bring it up to 50% because I know if I go any more, it's going to
start skipping.
It's going to start skipping and do some weird stuff. And then I lose throttle, basically. And so at 50% throttle, that thing basically hovered over the beans at the same height for a long while. But I was able to have full control. I was just trying to debate, should I try to climb, or is it going to slow down and then dump into the beans nose first like a dart? And I was like, well, you know what? It's working really good, but I keep coming down. I'm like, let's just back it off and we'll let it call it success. And so I was pleased because that was proof of concept. It flies.
I hope someone got a picture of you because you went from like concentration to giddy, glowing. Yeah,
I mean, I got it on camera.
Dumb grin.
It was good.
And a nice round of applause and cheers.
It was nice. Yeah, it was. Well, I barely. I was too busy grinning.
No, it flew.
Yeah.
It just needs more power.
It needed more power, and that was about it.
But it proved it can do it.
Yeah. So
and if the motors hadn't been stuttering or whatever that issue was, which I know you'll eventually figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
Like, it would have flown beautifully out the gate.
I think it might have been like the cowl I built is pretty, like, it's really just to be a shroud, not a structural component. And these things pull hard. So I think they were flexing, and when they were flexing, things were happening.
It may have been turning the motor, and it was grabbing.
And it was grabbing, and it was doing weird things with this. The timing was getting off. I don't know. It's tough to tell. So,
but it flew.
And it flew well. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, good.
That was an exciting piece. What about who else? What did you start your day with, Joe?
Again, I hopped on the golf cart and.
Oh, you started doing your volunteer shift.
Yep. I did my volunteer shift, and then when that was over, I had some lunch, and then I think I was just kind of calling it an easy day. So I came back to camp, and I probably walked around and talked to some folks for a bit, and then I sat down here at the camp. It was just chilling. I was going to work on my tiny whoop some more, and I happened to look over and saw you guys carrying the SR-72 out. And I said, oh, it looks like it's that time. So I shot over there. And then
so they're going, where's Joe? Where's Joe? I'm trying to find your number in my phone. I can't seem to, it's not making sense to me. And
it's all good.
I look up and I'm like, there's Joe.
Yeah, here he goes.
All right, we can do this. And I looked over to my left and I saw Steve with his camera coming over. Steve Nisgoda. He's coming. I'm like, cool. Okay, this is everybody. I think everybody's here. But there's a lot of people like, you need to tell me about it. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'll do my best.
So, I wound up coming back to camp and working on my tiny whoop some more. And I think I might have dozed in this chair for a short period, but then I worked on the tiny whoop for a while, a few minutes, and finally I said, you know what?
I'm hanging up the hat. I need help.
Yeah.
I walked over to the other build tent because I knew FPV guys were over there, and I sat down with the FPV Coalition guys and got them to give me a hand. One of the fellas. And
do you remember his name?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I'm so sorry to those guys because there's two of them.
Hey, look, this goes for anybody who like we haven't mentioned. Like we're just cutting-headed indie muggins. We just forgot. We're sorry.
Yep, I do good to remember the names. I do.
Right.
And there's just.
Okay, so you were talking to the FP Coalition guys.
Yeah, and long story short on that one, he went through and tried to connect to his computer and this, that, so he could look at it, and it was doing wonky stuff. And what it came down to was there was a power issue. It could have been a break in the wire internally, or he said maybe you had a cold solder on one of the power joints.
Okay.
That was causing it to be intermittent, and it worked fine out of the box, but then as you worked it some, it just wasn't making contact anymore.
Yeah,
so I went to the FT store, kind of let them know, hey, look, this one had a bad power connector. Everything is in the box. Everything it came with is in the box minus the plastic that parts were in. I said, do you mind if I just swap it for a new one? And they were more than happy to let me swap it out.
That's great.
Get a new one. I got it built, and then I carried it straight over to the tent to the FPV guys, and got a different guy to give me a hand. And he was actually impressed with how far I made it in that process, because it was
cool.
It was not a simple bind and fly, because working with the Radio Master and OpenTX,
there's a couple things you have to do, right?
Yeah, it's not just buying the transmitter that they sell alongside it for the Easy Go.
Okay.
So we worked with it, and then he went through and calibrated, and he went into my transmitter, and
because it's touchy if you don't set the throttle range or
he
work on the PIDs so that they're not so crazy responsive.
Right. He went through and he dialed in all my limits, so they were max and min, the full range on all my various controls, and then we set up the switches for the acro mode and the arming, and I gotta find the turtle mode. It wasn't labeled as such, but if it winds up upside down, so it'll kick it over.
Yep.
I gotta find out what function that is in Emu Flight.
Okay. Because that's what that brand of quadcopter uses, is Emu Flight.
Yeah, Emu Flight. Although I found out Emu Flight is a branch of Betaflight.
Yep.
And so I should be able to flash Betaflight on it if I wanted to.
You may not want to, because I think they chose Emu Flight because it works best on that platform.
Right. And there was some discussion in the tent about, well, Emu Flight's better for bigger things. Betaflight is good for those, but also the smaller things. But then the guy that was working with me said, well, that I could flash Betaflight onto this at some point when I get home. And he said, yeah, I flashed Betaflight onto it, but it just didn't work as well, and ended up flashing Emu Flight back onto it. So there's that. But it's working. He dialed in and set some expo and some limits, and basically to turn the controls down a little bit for me where he liked it. So we copied his profile over to mine. Cool. And
that's a big step ahead.
It is.
And it should give you a good chance of success.
Yep. And so I really haven't done any flying with it, but I've got it for home, and maybe next year I can do the Whoop races, because just seeing after he handled it and flew it and it had good control, and then I picked it up and immediately tried to handle it, and it flew to the sky and then fell to the floor, and I said, okay, I'm not going to be able to do the Whoop races. I got to have practice.
Right. Well, before we go too far, Jesse, I don't know that we covered it last night, but you probably heard about the Tiny Whoop races. What did you think of actually seeing the Tiny Whoop race?
It looked exciting, actually. I mean, you get this tent full of all sorts of flashing lights and glitter and
disco balls
and gates and tunnels, and actually what impressed me is just the sophistication of it. I mean, I think it was tracking the things as they went around and the gates went through.
Yep. So what they said was a new feature this year was that the gates would recognize the individual whoops that went through it, and you were racing your own time.
Yeah, it was saying the people's names that of the whoop that would go through, and it looked like a lot of fun. It I'm real close to taking that leap and trying it myself.
Yeah, I'm almost tempted to be like, okay, we're getting tiny whoops on the way out.
Well, I thought you had a tiny whoop-like thing.
I've got a lot of tiny whoop-like things. It's not a tiny whoop.
Well, go get you a tiny whoop.
Oh, boy.
And Jesse, go get you a tiny whoop.
I may have to.
Go get a tiny whoop.
And then we'll get really good, so we'll be trying to smoke each other in the race.
And here's the thing. Now that I've been through the process, I can walk y'all through how to get it set up on the Radio Master or the jumper.
Okay. Yeah, because I think we have either or, so.
Yeah, you've got the 4-in-1 module, right?
I have both of them. Yes.
Yeah, it should set up mostly the same.
Yeah, so I've got that. Yeah, and then I just chilled and got some. I don't think I mind saying we were able to get some free. I won't say sample kits, but for whatever reason, they were just for the volunteers. Some boxes of laser cut kits that I don't know what's wrong with them, if anything. That maybe they weren't. They said they didn't have them in inventory, and they were just looking to. So for volunteers,
kind of taking up space that they don't have anything tracked for them. So
yep,
let's
so
get them out.
Got some of those. Those will be coming home with me, and
those are one of the perks of volunteering.
Yep. So volunteer, and you can you can get yourself some nice stuff sometimes.
Generally, it makes it worth your while. It depends on what you want to do, but if you're here to meet people. So Jesse, we were talking about that earlier. Kind of reflecting back on, like, what were you glad about doing? This is your first time here at Flite Fest, sorry. And you were wondering, like, what was worthwhile? What would you do again? What would you recommend if you're new?
Certainly, yeah. This is my first time here, and it's initially a little overwhelming. There are these giant tents filled with people very enthusiastic about building anything, and a lot of different disciplines. Like I said, you got the FPV stuff and all the other things, but I came in really looking forward to getting involved. Mm-hmm. And as a new first-timer here, I highly recommend doing that. Be a volunteer, because you're not going to find a faster way to really get a feel for the place, meet the people, and get engaged.
Right. Like if you're on the carts, you meet the people who are coming in during the day, and they're going back and forth from their car, or campers who need to bring things to this or that.
Yep.
Yep. So you're meeting those people.
And you were doing build tent.
Yeah, I chose. When you sign up, you can choose kind of your preferences.
Right.
And
they'll pick you where they need you. But...
Yeah, you might not get your preferences, but and you don't have to be good at anything, really. The volunteers are, help out where you can, or know who to ask to connect people. I went in the build tents, and mostly there's two high level safety issues. Don't spin up the props and chop your fingers off, and don't leave your batteries charging unattended. Those are the two big things you'd look out for. But other than that, I walked around and talked to people. What are you working on? Do you need help? And I need this connector here. Well, I would go get a connector, because I usually had a couple. Or I've got this battery. I don't know how to.
Does anybody have the connector for the thing? This guy's almost there.
Or there was a gentleman that had a brand new kit. He got a battery, and it came with this USB charger that would take 8 to 10 hours to charge the thing. I'm like, I'm sure someone in this tent has a charger we can use. So we can do that sort of exactly. And I talk to everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't normally do that. I mean, you don't have to be that extroverted, outgoing. I'm not. But there's something about being in that environment that changes that.
Yep.
It's very welcoming. And for anybody that's new or first time out here, any kind of volunteering will give you a better experience.
Even in the STEM tent, you got a bunch of young families that are really kind of checking out what the deal is. It's free, so it's a way to build like a little small chuck glider that's doesn't cost anybody anything to kind of get their feet wet.
Yep.
And so these are a lot of people who are like, I don't know about this, we're just checking it out. And they go through the process and go, wow, that was awesome. And you see their kids' eyes are lit up, or even as parents, they're interested and engaged, and they're just excited about being together and doing a thing that everybody's enjoying.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just so rewarding to see. And you're just kind of help them along the process with the parts that they may not have gotten on their own. And it's smooth. And I mean, I can't tell you how many young kids I saw with those easy flyers.
Yeah,
of
they're going all
whatever
over the
sort they
place.
built. And they would put them in the combats and roll them around with everybody else. It was a lot of fun to see.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. There was a lot of these first-time little kids with the easy packs. These little tiny planes getting blown around, and next to a giant plane, just the same.
Yep. And everybody was having a blast.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
have a good old time. So yeah, volunteer if you can. I'm sorry, I'm trying to. It was not a sidetrack, but it was like.
No, you were
I wanted
just
to get your
asking me
impression, yeah.
my first impressions and what I would do differently or the same.
Or just for like if you're new, you haven't been here, and you're interested, when you come, volunteer. The perk is in the past, and again, that oftentimes they will make sure that it's worth your while.
Perks aside, I mean, I did it for the experience.
Right.
I have worked in fairs before.
Okay.
And it has
Well, yeah, you mentioned that.
kind of like the education, so like the family side of it, where you've got the juggler and the whatever and the science table. That's what I was doing.
And the livestock section.
Yeah, over that side of the fair, and it felt a lot like that. A very kind of community family, especially like you see the FFA
That's a good way to
stuff.
describe it. That it's a fair kind of atmosphere.
Exactly. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of opportunities to get involved and do something and just have fun. And
Well, and you're helping make other people's visit as enjoyable as you want your own to be.
as a volunteer, yeah.
Yeah, as a volunteer,
Absolutely.
because just ride around on the cart. Easiest gig in this place, but it's a night and day difference. For some people, they pull up out there. They're way out there at the end of the field.
Going like, oh my gosh,
the scale of the place
It's gonna be a long way.
surprised me a little bit.
And you pull up and they've it's mom and dad and they got 3 kids and some stuff to carry in, and hey, y'all want to ride in? Oh my God, I would love to ride in. Others were like, no, I'm good. I want the steps. Or there's some older couples that were coming in that I would love I would love a ride, or whatever it is. There were guys that I pulled up and I was in a 6-person golf cart, and it was 2 guys, and they just loaded the rest of the cart down with stuff, so they didn't have to make 3 trips carrying stuff. That made it fantastic for them. Now later on, I saw them having to carry it back out,
Right.
but at least they didn't have to carry it in.
Right.
It's volunteering helps everything out here run smoother, and it builds on the atmosphere. So help contribute to the atmosphere that if you hadn't been, you don't know the atmosphere that's here, but help contribute to it, because when you get here and you see the atmosphere, it's a lot of little people running around doing things. Nobody's super stressed, but everything's getting done.
Yep.
And it's seamless. Go ahead.
I just want to add to that, is that atmosphere you're talking about. Volunteering or not, this entire place is welcoming, helpful. You walking down a thing and you're supportive. You need a thing, anybody near you is going to hand it to you, and they here, use this.
They would rather see your plane or whatever you're working on in the air and finished and you happy than them just be like, no, that's mine.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
really.
it's a very community welcoming place. It was very easy to get involved because of that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So let's kind of shift gears. There were some really big projects
Oh yeah.
that were out there that we talked about the what is it, the Brown Betty or whatever, what is it?
I don't know what it's
The
called.
Betty Bomber.
Betty Bomber, I think.
Yeah,
Right,
I think
Ethan's
that's what it's
plane.
called. Yeah, Ethan's plane, which is the bigger version of the one. The Megalcy was out. If you follow the Flite Test channel, it's like a 20-foot trainer plane, like a big version
What's
of their
the Giant Legacy?
The Giant Legacy, right? So look at the FT Legacy and make basically almost a full scale one.
It
Pretty
was
close.
big.
And then you have like Ben Harbor built a C-47, I think is what it was. And then there was there's one more bomber out there.
There was the B-17.
There's a B-17 bomber that they've been working on for the last like month and a half or 2 months. And so they were all like at various points flying. And then of course you had Peter Sripol, who had started with like nothing and had built himself a plane that's basically like a small ultralight.
It was 35, 34, I don't know, 30-something foot wingspan.
Right.
Pretty impressive.
20-foot fuse with 4 crazy motors.
4 monster motors pulling it, I think.
Right. And it was, trying to get everybody here to try to attack it and take it down.
Yeah, they did a couple maiden flights. The first one needed a little adjustment. Then they had a successful maiden.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the last combat, they put it up, this giant 35-foot wingspan plane, and said, see how many little planes it takes to take me down.
It didn't even look like it was moving in the sky.
Yeah, it was.
It really was like,
Yeah.
what? How is that still up there?
It's not moving.
It's not moving at all. There was a little bit of a headwind, and it was like not moving.
It
so
took
slow
it took
moving.
out the giant Flurkin.
It did take
Yeah,
out the giant Flurkin.
It,
Yeah. So if you look at the channel, you see some. Big
I'm sure you'll see
monster Flurkin.
videos of it. I
gonna
was
be
spotting, so I caught a glimpse of it out of the side and saw the Flurkin spiraling down. I didn't see the impact.
Yep. I guess that kind of brings us to what is project
right.
number 2. So if you recall, Chris, one of our past guests, Chris McCallum, he and I talked about the Reptile Dragon product had been released, and he looked at it and made this design in foam board because he's like, this is really simple. Why are we paying so much money for this thing? And I helped him do something with it, and then I built one myself. He built one, and I don't know what my problem is about having trouble. We talked about how I kind of went with more rubber bands was really all it needed, and making sure the CG was right. So, and then I had a stuttering motor, which I fixed. And then so when we came out here, I flew it on a 3-cell. It flew really well. I had a 4-cell, so next time I went out, I had a 4-cell, and it flew faster, and it was still flying really well. I'm like, this is fantastic. I said, these motors are rated for a 6-cell. It would be nice to have a 6-cell, but I don't really have anything that small. Hold on, there's a really bright light shining in our face, so I think all of us are just, okay, thank you. Whew, that was really bright. Boy, oh boy, I think my brain stopped for a minute. Anyway, so, and Jesse turns to me and says, you know who has 6 cells? I do. I've got a bunch of them.
So, yeah, you started with, what, a 3-cell 2200 or something?
Yep.
You went to a 4-cell
1300.
1300.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that all
About
it was?
they're about the same weight.
Okay. And I just happened to have a 6-cell 1600. It fit in the fuse perfectly.
Yep, we just had to push it back a little bit.
Yeah, it actually put the battery more on the CG, which probably helped it
Yeah,
too.
it helped. It was good. And so with each upscale of the cell count, it started going faster and faster.
Well, you flew the 3S,
Yep.
the 4S,
Yep.
and I gave you the 6S, but you wouldn't fly it.
No, I said, no, you're flying it.
Right.
I handed
you
the
gave
controller.
me the radio, and like, oh,
And you're
I've
like-
never flown this plane.
And I'm like, no, this is all trimmed out. It's ready to go. All you need to do is go have fun.
So
Your battery, you fly it.
I don't mean to step on your story, but
No,
we're
do
on the
it.
flight line now
Your turn.
with me at the controls,
Mm-hmm.
and we're about ready to throw this into combat. And he says, "Flip the throttle real quick," and I do. I don't give it much, but it kind of surprised you. It pulls pretty good on that 6S battery, and we launch it. And I'm taking it easy. I'm at about 50% throttle, and it's still moving.
Yeah, it's moving kind of like the 4-cell was doing.
And so I'm kind of getting the feel for it. And that props to the designers, Chris and you.
Yeah, Chris mostly. I just made it a plane.
I hadn't flown one before. It flew fantastic. Already beaten up. That was not a clean plane by this point.
It's been through the ringer and back again.
And it tracked. It moved.
And I tell Matt, I'm going to hit it. I'm going to gun it. See what it can do.
Okay, let's see it.
I pin the throttle and it screams. I mean, Matt has been eyeing these wings that you can hear just yelling across the field.
Yeah, and they go and they move.
And it made that noise.
And if you remember
And-
last year, we talked about the piranha.
Yes.
And it had a very similar feel to the way the piranha is.
But
I think this was faster.
I almost lost it though, because out of the corner of my eye, he's giggling and hopping up and down. I mean, literally, no joke, that excited, and I'm laughing too. It was fantastic. What I found out about half a second later is it wouldn't turn. At full throttle, it negates the ailerons. The ailerons, the servos stalled. It couldn't handle the speed.
Right.
So
you just had
which is fine.
flat
it
level
was
go.
Stable enough that did not matter. Point it the way you want it to go, and it will go.
And punch it.
And if you want to turn, you got to slow down first.
That's all. Because you had a little bit of elevator control at that speed.
The elevator did work, so I could go up and down. But if you wanted to turn, you had to slow down.
So you line it up and you peg it.
And of course, that's what we did.
Yeah.
I'd turn, just rip across the field, and then slow down, turn back.
I really only think it took like, we were like all the way on the right is where we'd start, like near the road. And then we'd turn and line it up and we'd peg it. And I really think it was like about 2 seconds and it was on the other side and we had to turn.
And of course, now I'm getting real excited. And I'm playing with it. I'm starting to do some spins and loops. I'm like, Matt, put it in high rates. He's like, wait, didn't you mean low? No, high rates.
Click. And then high rates were engaged and all of a sudden he's doing, what were you doing?
I was doing all the maneuvers and spins and loops and twists, and
God, it's all over
I
the
have
place
to make
up
one
here.
now. I have to have one.
Yeah.
So I did bring it in and land it after only about a minute and a half or so of flight, because combat was in.
They're like combat's in 10, 20 minutes.
I mentioned this was combat. It wasn't combat. This was just prior.
Yeah.
Because we took it back, topped off that battery, so you could actually fly it in combat.
Right. I'm like, are you sure? And you're like, yeah, I want to see this.
It's been a long day. My memory's a bit fuzzy of what happened when.
It's been a long week.
It's been a long,
So
half a week, whatever. Yeah.
That was just the, hey, does 6S work?
Yeah, and it does.
And then,
so Eco 2 motors or Emax Eco motors with the 6S RKR, the 1700 kV, and there was like 35 amp opto ESCs to go with it. Or 2 to 6, rated 2 to 6 cells. That's all it took.
And then now it's your turn. You're flying combat.
Okay, so then we go and we get it all situated, and of course there's a bunch of people trying to talk. I'm like, there's combat, and I've got a 6 monster. I want to fight. So we went out to the line, and they got all the big planes up there, and specifically Peter Sriepel's giant plane, and we were our goal was to take it down. And so, like full fast, we all walk out to the edge of the beans, and we throw the plane, and then I just start flying it. And of course, it's acrobatic and easy to do. And then I kind of flew it way out to the one. I went way up high, and I went around, and I went up to the one side. I lined it up, and I just pegged it right to the swarm, like wing.
And you had to right early on clip something.
I clipped somebody's string with one of those little like popsicle or tongue depressor anchors.
Okay.
And for a minute there, for like just about 2 seconds, my ailerons weren't working really well at all. And I'm like, oh, this might be the end of it. And then I guess I did something and it slid to the side, and all of a sudden my ailerons were freed up. I'm like, okay, well, here we go again. Turned around and pegged it.
All the while dragging a string with an anchor on it.
There's a string and an anchor out the back of it. Oh, so fantastic.
I lost track of that a few times, because as a spotter, I'm not really watching your plane all the time.
Just trying to make sure I don't get hit on the
because
ground.
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But I did see quite a bit of that.
So just zipping back and forth and zooming around and doing a bunch of corkscrews around, trying to get, Peter's playing a bunch of times and then trying to find somebody else. So I'd been clipped by the string. I managed to clip somebody else. I don't think it took them out, but it just sort of like whirled around a couple times and just whizzz, and off we went. A lot of fun. That was a blast. I had a smile from ear to ear, and I brought it real close down to the beans, and I think I skimmed a couple of them as I came back up. And then the one turn I did a little bit of acrobatics, and I ended up turning it to the crowd. And I wasn't sure if I gunned it, if I was going to be able to pull the elevator was going to pull it properly. So I ended up just rolling it and turning it into the dirt, just so it wouldn't hurt anybody, because it was coming right at the line.
Yeah,
and at the speed that can go,
It
was
would have
dangerous,
either just pulled up right in front of somebody and over their head,
which would have been really scary for everybody.
and you chose wisely,
Yep.
just dumped it.
So,
it was fine.
Rather than continue with the combat and possibly hurt somebody if I missed, I figured I'd just put it in the dirt and be fine. So we had a good time with that. That was a lot of fun.
Turns out that was the perfect amount of time for that battery.
Yeah, because because when we put it on the thing, it was like you only had like maybe 30 seconds more. I think I could feel it start to like
I
not be as aggressive.
checked it when we got back, and I think it was at 18%, which is fine for that battery.
Yeah, it's fine.
But if you had gone to the end of combat, it might have been pushing your luck on that battery. He was enjoying the high-speed runs.
Oh my god, they're so much fun. So much fun. No, there's a lot of acrobatics in the middle, but then I'd like turn and punch it out of the swarm and then turn around and punch it through. It's good. It's a good time. It's a good plane.
Well,
I'm glad I'm sticking with that.
And
I
that
stuck with it.
mostly kind of wrapped up our day, or
Yeah.
weekend even.
Yeah, more or less. Oh, we went out and I got a bunch of video system antennas from Video Error Systems. We may be talking to them, Alex Greaves, in future episodes.
I mean, there's plenty of visiting and socializing.
Oh my
after that,
God.
but that was kind of our main event.
Yeah, and then we got out to see Dave with you
yep.
a little bit, and we
Glad
talked.
we finally got to see him.
And then I went out and we talked to Jason Kennedy for a little bit at his site with his son, and they were having a blast. He was telling me about a couple of his planes. If you like something fast, I got a plane for you. So I'm like, oh boy. So anyway, so it was a fun day. It's a good day for a lot of things.
Yep.
It was very satisfying.
Well, we're pretty much at the end of Flite Fest here. I'm running under the assumption this will be our last recording session like this for the episode.
We had one thought though. We wanted to leave listeners with and see if they had some feedback ideas.
Yes. So getting into a little bit of housekeeping, we did the Spitfire fly-in this Flite Fest, which, considering that we really didn't have a set time far ahead of time, the turnout was great. Those that were here that knew about it, they were just on standby waiting for when we were going to do it. The announcement went over to PA, so we had a couple other Spitfires that I don't think were
necessarily part of the thing.
Yeah, but they showed up.
They heard Spitfires. I have Spitfire.
Yeah, it really was put out as a whatever Spitfires are out. If you got Spitfire, bring it in. It was awesome. So we got pictures of that. But next year, so assuming that we're all going to be here next year, which is the current plan. Yep. We want to put out there, whether you're coming to Flite Fest or not next year, we want to put out to the community, what do you think would be a cool fly-in plane to do? So we did the Spitfire this year, and several of us did the podcast Skin, and that's not necessarily a requirement, but what fly-in should we do next year?
What plane should we choose to have everybody kind of like joint build and bring out and fly?
Or at least a theme or something.
Yeah, maybe a theme, whatever.
Maybe it's just a theme. Give us your thoughts, and Matt and I'll look at it and see what ultimately we're going to plan to do, and then we'll have almost a year to plan it. For everybody to say, all right, here's what ultimately we're going to end up doing. We'll have that figured out sometime, and say we can start working on that.
Yep. And even possibly, if with that kind of lead time, we might be able to coordinate with Flite Test programming scheduling, and kind of have a little bit more of a set window. So that we can really advertise it better.
Sure. Let's see, what else? Housekeeping. I want to say, Jesse, thanks for coming out to Flite Fest with us. But
thank you for
I
coming
was
all
just
that way.
going to say, thank you for having me, allowing me to hang out and talk on this podcast with you. It's been a blast.
Dude, we're glad to have you here. Thanks for Flite Test for doing this every year. And they really put on a solid show. I mean, not a show, but like they put together a solid event, and that everything's smartly laid out now, and it seems to be that they're able to do this without really a big muss or fuss, or at least not from the outside. It doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
Obviously there's a ton that goes into making this happen right, and it seems to be getting better and better every year. So, you know, golf clap. Big thanks for
Flite Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our primary contact, Eddie Black on the volunteer side. Like, you know, I have loved working with him, and then Kilroy, because I've doing the carts, I get to see him a lot.
Yep.
You know, so those two guys are fantastic.
And I'd say to any of them involved listening to this, well done and thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you to you guys that are listening. All this is assuming, because I have not pulled in any of the audio into the laptop yet to see how this is going to sound.
It's going to sound amazing, Joe.
Well, hopefully. So if you have made it this far and the audio is terrible, thank you for hanging with us regardless.
Yep.
This was an experiment, and ultimately I had ordered in 2 lapel mics that we still haven't used. And Jesse, I wanted another set of 2 so we could do and have nice clean audio, but by the time that I got into our Amazon account to order it, it wasn't going to be here until I was already on the road to Matt's place. So, you know, if you made it this far, thank you for hanging with us, and hopefully, you know, while this won't replace being able to come to Flite Fest, hopefully this has been enjoyable. Whether you were at Flite Fest or whether you couldn't make it, like, I just hope this was enjoyable.
Yeah, think of it like a big. This is what we're doing this week. Part of the podcast.
Yeah, and so this one will be probably 2 weeks after Flite Fest, which is kind of sad, but that's our schedule, and that ends up buying us some time so that we're not so stressed in the next couple weeks. Yeah, so we get on the road tomorrow. Any other last minute things, guys?
No, just any ideas you guys have, send them our way so we can do some fun things in the coming couple months.
Yep, and Matt, Jesse, and I were talking earlier. We've got some thoughts about next year that maybe later on down the road, closer to next year, we can talk about more. It's just some head thoughts and gears turning a little bit on a couple things that we're tossing around among ourselves for next year, but we want to see whether it's possible and how it could turn out. So, if there's nothing else,
nope. Jesse, you?
No, my brain's about to shut off. I mean, I don't know if they can notice listening, but I don't think any of these were actually done on the day we say they are. It's like 8 a.m., early a.m.
It's, midnight, 11, whatever.
I think I may have dozed off there for a second.
Well, then we're going to get out of here. Guys, as always, thank you for tuning in and listening, especially to the crazy thing that this is. Nice. Thank you for blinding me, Matt.
I'm happy to help you.
Hopefully you've enjoyed listening as much as we've enjoyed just literally sitting in some camping chairs in our camp with a phone sitting in front of us, chatting and carrying on. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, feel free to write in. Let us know. aviationrcnoob@gmail.com. You can reach Matt at aviationrcnoob. No, Matthew or Matt?
It's Matthew.
Okay, Matthew at aviationrcnoob.com. You can reach me at Joe at aviationrcnoob, as always.
Or you could yell at Jesse at Zediac on the
on the Discord.
On the Discord forums.
Certainly, I'll be up
link
there.
in the description for the Discord server.
Yep.
You've got a build night planned July 1st.
Yeah, basically the Friday after we get back.
Yeah,
I'll be there. I might actually build something.
Well, then that'll be before this episode goes live.
Probably.
That's not going to help that
We'll
much.
Okay,
do one later in the month too. Don't worry.
Well,
about
future folks, hopefully y'all had fun at the build party.
Let me know if I built something.
Yeah, right.
All
All right, guys.
I think we're going to get out of here.